this week on 9 victories if both of them win here today. But it starts here in the draft for Nongshim, taking on the Bros who have that blue side advantage. You want to know something fun? A bit of a fun fact here?
I always love fun facts.
Well, here is a fun fact for you. After this series is concluded, there will be 2 series in the LCK for Vital, and he's only played against KT 80 carries.
True. That is a very unique situation.
Isn't it?
Do you see bans coming through? The Elise ban first rotation this time. We've seen it very, very often ban second rotation against Lehens. But here, Bro opting to ban at first rotation, which is a little bit weird to me.
Yeah.
Because we typically see in the LCK right now, it's top jungle and mid are picked in the first 3. Very occasionally do we see AD carry and support there, and then normally AD carry support second rotation. Trundle going to come through as a ban from Nongshim, wanting to deny that one. Xin Zhao's open and available, and yet Rumble is the one picked up by Bro. So I think for Nongshim, you just take the Xin Zhao in this situation.
Yeah.
Pantheon, Trundle, and Vi gone.
I mean, it's a Xin Zhao Talia angle, right? Like, isn't it very clear cut?
Ooh, I would have said so. Instead, looking at the Azir, which...
I don't know about it. With Talia up, I feel like this is dangerous.
Oh, I do not. I think Bro here just go Talia Xin Zhao in return. And they've been given a great scenario where you're playing Talia into Azir, just seems very favorable. Opting not to go for the Xin Zhao instead of going for the Wukong, but we'll go for that Talia. And we've seen Talia do so well against the Azir. So I feel like Nongshim kind of fell into a little bit of a trap here, especially closer on Talia has been so good.
Exactly, this is the problem. I feel like that pick is so contested, especially between these 2 teams. So a little bit of danger here as Nongshim kinging with a bit of a grin on his face as he locks in the Jace. This is something that can work quite well alongside the Sejuani. We'll see whether Gideon and Kingen are going to be playing towards that top side. But I think Morgan will be able to put a fair bit of pressure on despite the range disadvantage up there. And we've seen Rumbles actually start to get better and better edges in this matchup. So I'm right there with you, Ox. I think that Bro have got exactly what they want. This blue side really working out for them as the Braum is going to be banned away. No double equalizers, the cold one and the hot one to come on through for the Bros as the Shen taken away from Lehens. Do they just ban Singed after this and just do like the world tour of bans for Lehens as weird picks?
I think Alistar probably the better ban here.
Yeah, I know, but it's less fun.
It is less fun. But we often see that Alistar picked on the 4th pick on red side. It will get banned away. I think Rakan, I'm surprised, honestly, Nongshim didn't ban Rakan with how good it is paired with
Watch
the Wukong.
them pick it.
But picking it into Talia feels so bad. Talia Rumble Wukong is terrible to play Rakan into because you just get exploded.
Yeah. Well, now Xayah Rakan could come out from the Bros, and they'd be probably pretty okay. Outside of getting pretty outranged, especially with that Varus now being locked in, so maybe it is a little bit more dangerous, but you see Talia on your side, a Poppy banned, and you're like, well, it's got to be a Rakan angle, right?
I think the Rakan's good. I think that the Xayah I'm less convinced on, and obviously you can't play them without that pairing. Looking for the Jhin.
Like that.
See, they could just end up going for like the Rel instead in this situation, but I definitely think you need engage with this composition. You are ranged pretty heavily by the side of Nongshim. You do want to close the distance. You do need to get into the back line. And really, Bro have this very teamfight-focused composition with a lot of dive threats. And for Nongshim, it kind of feels like their goal is just kind of stand there and hit you from a distance.
Yeah, and they're going to have to play pretty well because the Wukong can always get in there from stealth. You've got the walls that can be set up at all times. They have to make sure that they're in perfect position because otherwise the wall goes up, the curtains are opened, and it is just, you're just dead.
Yep. Yep, and honestly, I think Bro, bit of an edge in this draft. I feel like the priority on the Azir over the Talia here, the Sejuani as well, didn't really resonate with me too heavily. We have seen like Jace Sejuani go together, but it's still a sort of composition where you have 1.5 melee champions for the Sejuani. You know, we've seen Yone Sejuani be so effective. This is not that.
No, it's not. It's not that sort of melee topside. Even with a Rumble, you can find a decent amount of effectiveness. But Gideon on a tank has been very, very powerful as that guy with his mouth open was like so excited about this game. Did you see him in sort of the back of the audience? If you guys are watching on YouTube, you can actually just scroll back a sec because that guy looked amazing. I need someone to zoom in and just send me like a little caption of his face on Twitter. That would be absolutely amazing. He really epitomized what we're talking about heading into this series. It is pure elation and excitement.
Oh, and Croco and Closer with his skin synergy.
Oh, Skinergy.
Matching our ties as well.
Oh my goodness. The amount of synergy is absolutely absurd moving into this Sunday's games. Let's dive into the rift for game 1.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Okay, so I know we're on the Nongshim side of Lol Park right now, but damn, the Noodle fans are going nuts today. That was very, very loud. I'm very impressed. That's all right. Let's get into it. Let's see whether that cheer from the crowd can be enough to give Nongshim the energy to win against what is looking like a really difficult composition to take down for them.
Yeah, and I think, you know, a lot of emphasis think needs to be put on Kingen. He's got on this Jace, he's got on Electrocute as well. Want to see if he can really choke Morgan out the game on his Rumble. And as you said earlier, we've seen Rumble doing a lot better in this matchup recently. I think players getting more to grips with it, to the fact that it isn't just like, okay, Jace beats everything.
Yep.
But if any jungle attention comes in, it will make a big difference in this matchup.
Well, I'm looking forward to it because I'm hoping Nongshim, they have a plan to tackle this, right? Like there is certain like range advantages that they can take advantage of. They've got the ability to scale into the late game. They've got so much Baron damage on top of that, right? Like if you're ever able to actually get a lot of vision control, then you can utilize it very effectively to threaten big objective takes. But I'm still a little bit worried. Just because the fact that Bro do have that ability to engage, right? They've got the rel, they can just set up a wall and then smash you into it. Like, it's going to be really, really rough. As Hype already putting on a lot of pressure. Vital with the barrier down already.
Yeah, very early barrier just for pressure. And you are playing into cleanse, so you do have that extra advantage in terms of the combat summons, but it didn't really help him out too much in this situation. Still going to be Bro with the pressure in this bot lane. And Nongshim have to give a good amount of respect.
Yep, level 2 going to be collected here. As interesting that Vital went for the piercing arrow as well. Oftentimes we do see the hail coming on through. Opting in for that one instead. And all right. Vital also going for the poke build as well. We've seen like a bit of a resurgence. Every game for like the last couple of weeks has felt like it's been on hit Varus.
Yeah.
But it's like the last couple have been a little bit of a return to the poke variety.
I think.
Is anyone surprised about how this matchup's going?
No, not at all. I think it's pretty understandable into this game where there are a good amount of squishier targets. Even the bulkier targets, kind of like bruisers rather than tanks.
Yep. And
you're not going to be able to sit there and auto-attack this game as a Varus. A lot of champions in the enemy team, whereas if you're in range to auto-attack, you're having a bad time.
Yep. I feel like so much of it has been, like, even if it looks like a good angle, is never mind. We've got a bit of a fight here towards the bottom side. The Aftershock wears off there for Lehens, and he becomes so much squishier. Now Vital will be the target. That does allow Lehens to get himself out, but will Vital be as okay? And the answer is he needs his flash to do so. This bottom lane is a disaster for Nongshim, and that is sort of mirroring what's happening elsewhere on the map outside of the top side. That's just going even.
Yeah, I mean, picking Varus, going the poke build, and then losing out in the 2v2 is never a good feeling, and Hyperpole doing a great job so far of applying pressure. Do you see Gideon walking down?
I believe he was unseen as well, as they spot the fact that the Wukong is towards the top side. As now I've got the full zoom out, he throws up the thumbs up, thinking that even if there's a ward in that brush, he's going to be okay. The flash forward from Lehens, and the chain CC, the flash out from Polu though, as Gideon unable to interrupt any sort of crash down there. It felt like a very late flash if he wanted to do anything, and it isn't going to work.
And honestly, Bro is super happy with that. It's a trade of summoners. In fact, Nongshim commit more. They can hit flash from Gideon, flash from the Hens, ignite from the Hens. All they get is Polu's flash, and he has Hex Flash.
Yeah.
So he's fine with that situation. The fact you're committing that gank, meanwhile Croco's making use of his time on the other side of the map. You're trying to bail out your bot lane, and it didn't give the intended effect. So good moves there from Polu to survive that gank.
Really nicely done. You can see the CS is even between the two. There's a 300 gold lead for the Bros, though, largely just based on farm. A little bit here with the extra camp going over to Croco.
That's the thing. If they'd just been there to escort the wave in and to give Nongshim a reset, I think it would have been fine. But the fact they committed for the gank and then ended up trading down in summoners is where it feels really bad.
It's also like a flash for an activation of Hex Flash as well. It is, or two flashes, sorry, and no Hex Flashes on their side. I mean, Bros traded up like exceptionally high. Speaking of which, there is the execution of said Hex Flash from Follow. Makes his way into the mid lane, but Lehens was already set up. Still, Bro with control of mid will be able to flick back Lehens, who doesn't seem too bothered.
Yeah, doesn't do that much damage at this point yet.
At this point, yeah.
No. But still, good signs from Bro in the early levels. The one real advantage that Nongshim have is King getting a bit of a farm lead in the top lane. But nothing that Morgan is going to be too upset about so far. We do see Bro swapping that bot lane up to top. We have seen this a decent amount. I think HLE, our team, we've done this quite a bit. Even though like we saw the grub changes and we're kind of thinking, okay, teams are going to swap as early. And a lot of teams aren't swapping as early. HLE and a couple of other teams have been like, no, we swap our bot lane up to the top side at 5 minutes regardless.
Yeah.
This does kind of give over pressure on this dragon though, which Nongshim are going to scoop up.
Yep, should be Gideon able to grab that one for himself. This does mean that Bro get to index into this early game pretty hard, right? Like getting themselves 3 grubs, going to be able to have those Void Mites to help out in side lanes and also to deny them from Kingin, who does want to be playing around sides quite a bit. Okay, Croco coming in, Calyx at 50%, shifts the sands, and Croco wasn't interested. He just wants to try and deny this dragon that's just going to be secured now. The crab should go over to Gideon, as Calyx going to eat most of these honey fruits. Just says, Gideon, leave some for me, please. I am not having a great time.
It's a bit of a weird move from Croco, because you kind of just walk down. The gank on Calyx was pretty unrealistic. You ain't getting to the dragon in time. So you kind of just wasted a good chunk of time moving down bot side, only to run back. And now...
Oh, Vital. Oh, dear. That's... Oh, he's moved out. Never mind. Okay, Lehens is rotating over, though. Polo is in a lot of trouble. He tries to get over, and Calyx says no. Looks to try and get out, but the burn is going to tick down, and Croco grabs that kill. A 1-for-1, but the Cyclone's now going to come in. There's the Glacial Prison, as now Vital stuck in a bit of a hole here, as the threaded volley not really doing too much, and Closer doesn't have any mana at all. Still, the Equalizer goes down, and that is going to be a dead Varus. Lehens goes down as well, and it looked like things were kind of okay for Nongshim, and then they absolutely weren't.
The collapse and the collapse ends up coming in, you know. It looked like Nongshim might be able to catch out some members off Bro, but Calyx kind of just falls prey to that engage from Polu. I guess just didn't expect this. Like, he has flash, he has ult, ends up getting caught out, and then the combo comes in from behind. Great target selection from Bro. And then here they lose the support, but like, hey, we're confident, we're going to continue this fight. Vital has no flash, so he ends up getting caught out here. The Rumble comes in, the Jace is nowhere to be seen. And like Vital with no flash and an Equalizer lands on you, you're just doomed.
Yeah. And Hype and, of course, Croco going to very comfortably be able to take down the Nautilus.
That honestly felt like a situation where Nongshim, they were like, hey, we can collapse on this, we can make something happen, but they did it in such a non-committal way, where they're like, well, we don't need a top laner here. Well, Calyx is just going to hit them with a soldier and not really worry about Polu jumping on him, and it just immediately backfired.
Yep. And it looked kind of cute to start things off, right? He was trying to crash his way over the wall. They deny that with the Emperor's Divide, and then Calyx instantly pops like a balloon. And that was the beginning of the end there for Nongshim. So the Bro composition working out very nicely. About 800 gold is going to be their advantage for now. It's not end of the world, right? Like, Nongshim still have this comp that can stand and deliver pretty effectively. But I just feel like the win conditions start to stack up for the Bros as they retain like bigger and bigger leads in this game. Like the snowball potential of this composition is absolutely absurd.
Oh, 100%. And especially we see summoners being burned quite frequently from Nongshim so far. When you're playing into Bro's composition, anytime you don't have flash on, you know, Jace, Varus, even the Azir, you feel really vulnerable. So the more fighting that goes on, the better Bro are gonna feel, even if not every fight goes in their direction.
Yep. Closer still set up here in this lane. You can see Calyx doing a decent job as far as farm is concerned. That is going to be great news. Only 100, 200 gold in it between the two mid laners. It's mainly the jungle where the advantages are starting to build up. And at least for Nongshim fans, Kingin is able to afford quite a few things. You can see ahead by about 100 gold against Morgan, who was able to get that kill in that last fight as well. So it just does show Kingin's been able to lane quite effectively, as Jace is supposed to do. Next dragon going to be a Hextech as well. So Cloud Hextech, we could have, like, the Chemtech Ocean chances are so high right now.
Yeah. And honestly, if Nongshim get that second dragon and then it ends up being like a Chemtech, you're going to feel really bad.
Yeah.
Ocean, similarly, so
I mean, Ocean feels a little bit less awful just because you do kind of want to like non-committally poke at them. But
yeah, I mean,
I still think.
I think the problem is you still just get exploded.
Yeah.
Whereas like Mountain stops you from getting exploded, and Infernal means your poke is even more severe.
You can explode back.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll see what it ends up being. By the way, again, the gold lead's not super substantial right now, and Nongshim did manage to pick up those 3 grubs of the dragon, so they're feeling pretty good about that. But when we get into those team fights, it is going to be an explosive composition to deal with. Right now, though, both teams with that bot lane around topside, not making any moves really towards this dragon yet. That's spawning in 45 seconds.
Do you think the bros want to do some stuff on the top side of the map, Orcs? Because I'm looking at this, there is a lot of vision.
They do seem to be favoring.
They are really prepared for, you know, the Rift Herald that's coming up in 4 minutes' time.
They're just looking towards the future, you know?
And Nongshim have basically no vision on any part of the map, really at all, outside of like a couple of wards towards the top side. They're going to need to set up around this dragon if they do want to continue stacking those up. 13 seconds until that Hextech is going to spawn.
Yeah, so Nongshim make the move towards the dragon. You know, they're moving the bot lane into mid. Azir is going top, where's TP.
Oh, Croco.
Bro do have Croco in here, but they're only just now moving Hype down. You can see Hype and Close are swapping on the map. So we'll be a little bit behind in this prio.
Now Vital just trying to set up shop, take down these minions. Can certainly do so from decent range. So the Varus pretty good at standing alone in mid. Moving now down towards the bottom side of the map. Morgan with no teleport right now. Does have his flash, a difficult target to dive at the minute. As Polu's going to move in, Croco alongside. I think the bros can sense it.
Yeah.
There is some danger here.
I think especially since they have vision, you know, towards mid lane and they don't see anyone, they're kind of assuming they're shadowing, covering for Kingen, who's playing very far up in the lane. And they will hold their nerve, do kind of push out and contest the vision.
Oh, Lahens has snuck into this position, though, as you can see.
He want to be here anymore.
They're going to have to go for... Oh, my God. He finds the max range hook now as Gideon's going to come in. Flashes forward. The Winter's Wrath comes down, but Morgan does manage to get the equalizer off. A teleport coming in now for the bros as now Kingen's on the wrong side of it. And there goes Lahens. Closer turns up. It's all 5 members of the bros. And they will be able to take out Kingen as well. A disaster for Nongshim. It looked like maybe an angle had been found, but just not enough damage.
Not able to get the damage in time. Not able to connect enough onto Morgan to take him down. And ultimately, once again, it feels like Nongshim are the ones starting to play. They think they found something.
Calyx?
But they don't bring enough resources to finish off the fight. Vital wasn't there in that fight at all. And you know, you're against a Jhin. Jhin doesn't have to move nearly as far as a Varus does to impact the fight. But it just felt like so much was thrown at Morgan. But Morgan is pretty bulky. He has that Leandries, he has that Scrap Shield. And, you know, the CC comes in, but Kingen just jumped onto that minion. Yeah. And like he knocks Polo away. I don't think Kingen hit Morgan once there.
Yeah, this is the problem. Just didn't quite have the damage available.
But it just feels weird because if Kingen had put his full combo into Morgan, I think he would have just died. Like, the fight might have still gone wrong, but he should have just died.
Well, Kingen is going to just die.
Yeah, that's what you... So, see Morgan, he put his damage into Kingen and Kingen just died. That's kind of...
That might have been, like, a mistake for the bros, because perhaps now they've taught Kingen that what he's supposed to do is put all of his damage into the thing that needs to die.
Yeah, maybe, perhaps. But yeah, and then the fact that the Jhin was there and Varus was still mid, just a lot of things. And again, it just feels so weird to me because Lahens finds the angle, finds that flank angle that looks really creative, a really good way to catch out member bro. But then, so, like, Kingen's burning abilities on the minions, and, you know, we also have Vital not being there. It just feels like there's so many things missing.
Yeah. And it's going back to the draft. The thing that I'm worried about is that it feels like Nongshim just didn't put as much thought into it or something. I don't know what it is, but this is an odd way to be drafting into a team that obviously wants to play Talia if you can. It's kind of showing that, you know, the blue side advantage isn't necessarily just that it is objectively better, but also that teams feel so much more comfortable drafting on this side. I don't think the bros were ever even expecting to be able to get a third round Talia pick. It's working out very well. 004 right now for Closer. But 3-0-2 for this Wukong. Croco having an absolutely phenomenal time on this jungler.
I think as well, we've seen times Talia, you know, playing the Ahri, and the Ahri's done pretty well, but the fact that it's that you get to pick the Talia when the Azir's already taken was really, I think, the big blunder that came out.
I guess we're not really saying it's over yet, as all of that vision that they had earlier on the top side of the map is going to pay off. This Rift Herald does go over to the Bros. Still, Calyx going to be able to lock down this bottom outer turret.
Yeah, it's good to see Nongshim at least doing things on this side of the map, because right now they're kind of at the point where they can't really contest with how strong Bro are. So they're like, okay, we'll pick up a tower, give them the Rift Herald. Do you need to try and make sure they defend that mid-tier 1 where we expect the Herald being thrown down? But I think you're kind of just leaning into scaling a little bit for Nongshim. I'm not sitting here and saying, okay, well, they outscale Bro, but I think maybe a chance to outscale the deficit is what they'll look for in this situation.
Yeah, if you can sort of keep trading well, then it could be an opportunity. The Bros have had some flubs when it comes to decision-making as to where to be on the map later on in the game, as Vital almost misses that cannon, but does manage to pick it up. All right, Croco and Polo move over towards this control ward. Next dragon is going to be in a minute 50, and it's an Infernal Soul. We didn't really talk about this, but we got Cinders on the ground, and we've got some explosive damage to be coming in there, as Petal going to be claimed here by Vital.
Yeah.
Plus, O's talent would never let us down when it comes to claiming the petals around the map.
So true.
All right, that is a Glacial Prison that Morgan, like, they didn't even get the sentence passed.
Yeah, I mean, they get the TP at least, so it's not like you didn't get anything. But it doesn't feel good when you go for those plays and you're really hoping to get the kill. But they make the decision to back off, and it's the right call. So, opened, TP traded. I think they can be at least happy with that.
Yep. Quasar retaining his position on the top side of the map. Bit of a reset to come through from 3 of the Bros as they make their way back out onto the Rift once more. Morgan coming on down almost towards his second item. But Kingen doing absolutely fine in this matchup. Only 250 in it for the minute. That rhyme is unintentional, but sometimes these things happen.
You're a poet and you don't know it.
Yeah, just like Brock from Pokemon. That's where I heard that one for the first time, but it's in basically everything.
Yeah.
It's okay. Broco's in the top side, but no one is on the side of Nongshim, so no one really in danger for now. Where this Rift Herald's going to go is kind of the question, and I assume mid lane is likely where it wants to head.
I mean, I think this is the best timing for it, is you throw it down to get a lot of pressure down when Dragon's spawning. Really gives you access into the river, and I think, you know, the advantage Nongshim have is that long range, is that poke, but if they're trying to contest into an area where they lack vision, it's so hard. And we will see that Herald come out mid, gonna get the charge, not quite enough to kill it, but it's gonna be so low, will go down pretty easily afterwards. You can see Croco finishes it off.
The Trinity Force going to help out, locking that one down, just gets in there, commits for it, is now Kingen looking for a shock blast. We'll be able to find it there, but...
Oh, he's in trouble.
Oh, God, yeah, this is real bad. He's going to have to take the red carpet. Manages to flash over, so flash now on cooldown, but Kingen does survive. He's now looking for a bit of a reset play as Calyx. Possible wraparound angle, but they've got so much vision in this area. The Bros now 50% health on this dragon. Morgan looking for an angle, no equalizer for the fighters now. Lahans looks to go in. Knockups are plenty here on the side of Nongshim as Calyx is free, hitting Emperor's Divide. Just hits Croco, but does do a lot of damage. And the dragon will be secured. The Pros, very low health. Everyone flashes out of the pit. And they'll be fine. It's just highway robbery.
Yeah, a lot invested to get them out, but it was the right call. Didn't want to stay around in those low health bars. Morgan was spending his time zoning away Kingen, and I actually think that was maybe a little bit of a mistake, because the Rumble not being there represented a pretty big drop in terms of combat power. But they end up getting the objective, and they end up getting out with a kill advantage. So I think Bro pretty happy with the outcome overall.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's closer than it really had any right to be, given the fact that the Bros are 7-1 in kills, right? They're 4,000, 3,000 gold ahead. Feeling pretty good. So I
think the thing that happens here is so much CC is focused on the front line. And obviously they do melt the Lahens, but Vital and Calyx are untouched, just kind of free-firing into the pit. The wall comes out to stop Croco from following up. And also in the meantime, Morgan is just zoning Kingen, who's already half HP, so he's not there to help with the fight.
Yeah, let's just get out. Just laughing at everyone. What the heck? Why are we flashing?
But I think this is the sort of setup where you can see Nongshim's composition working the best, and I think that's kind of one of the frustrating things, is that that was ideal for them, and yet they still didn't manage to get an advantage from the fight. They got a lot of summoner spells, but they didn't get the dragon, they didn't get the kill advantage.
They just then got a Weaver's Wall, Orcs. So
they'll take it.
There's that. It's just Closer being able to stop any sort of siege on this mid-outer turret. Calyx, in the meantime, here towards the top side, there are cinders everywhere. Please, sir, go and collect them. And he does. Look at that.
Nice. Will he make the detour to grab that cinder, though?
Ooh.
I mean, he might. I don't think he would miss the cannon, but maybe he was close, so he doesn't want to risk it. Will he go back for it, is the question.
Well, he did look like he was. No, he's not.
He's decided he's deliberating.
Yeah. Well, Rylai's is now completed here for Calyx. The new build for the Azir. And now the Rumble tidying up some minion waves here towards the bottom side. Gideon standing on top of a ward very comfortably by the looks. He's going to be able to now clear it out as Lahen's moving in. Even with the Frost Armor, Gideon is still going to explode. He just doesn't seem all that tanky as the Equalizer once again on cooldown to start this fight off. But there is no smite available for Nongshim. And even though these this is kind of a good spot for Nongshim because all of the resistance is being shred. It means that this poke damage is going to be real. You can see already Vital getting to work. They take down Lahen's. There's the curtains being called now as well as it is. Otacon secured the Emperor's Divide from beyond the grave as Vital just trying to do what he can. Kingen as well just doesn't have the damage. And Nongshim, I think that was their last gasp and it was just a mouthful of water. I think they're going to drown.
Gotta give credit to Bro. They really decisively made that play. The longer that took to go down, the more poke Nongshim could get. Oh, looking for Kingen.
Yeah, Kingen is going to be found here as now the flash forward from Vital. He wants to kill Croco. He gets the heal back. And the Hail of Arrows is not enough to take down the Monkey. Oh, man. The Bros just playing out of their minds here. They'll be able to take another outer turret. Can you believe it? This will be another one of the teams that are racing towards Legend Group just being obliterated by the Bros on their way to getting there.
Yep, and honestly, you know, sometimes we see Bros start to ramp up when they're out the competition. They're still in it, and they're really working for it. They catch out Gideon here, who's trying to clear that ward. Didn't expect so many members. And then the main thing is, the calls are clear. They're like, we need to burst this down as quick as possible. Don't let them poke us anymore. Morgan blocking that shock blast was huge. And then eventually, the hands is like, right, let's force the fight. We have to go quick. He gets nuked down. The Jinnel opens up from a great spot. Calyx tries to find a shuffle and unfortunately fails. And it just feels like this Bro roster is playing so crisp, so clean.
Yeah, it's beautifully done. And we mentioned that their composition's good, but there have been so many times where Bro have had a great comp and it's just not worked.
Yeah, and I do want to mention, I think Sundered Sky is broken. I think this item's so strong. The healing you get from it in the skirmishes, I think a big reason why we've seen in the meta Pantheon, Xin Zhao, Wukong really rise up.
Delicious, delicious.
Absolutely. But moments like this, like the amount of healing you can get in a fight, as Wukong especially has the extended range on his Q, who is so slippery in the first place, moments like that where you're able to heal up and survive can be really frustrating to play against, so...
I think people are going to be thinking twice as well when it comes to blind picking things like Sejuani, right? Like
Sejuani Azir was just such a question mark for us.
Because it's like they're both so counterpickable with really good champions in the meta at the moment.
Yeah, I think really for me, we've seen the priority of Sejuani drop off. I think if you're playing Sejuani, it's because you have like Sejuani Gwen or Sejuani Yone. Or both.
Or you're picking Sejuani into something that you know you can play into, right?
Yeah.
Like they pick Skana, you're like, okay. It's my Sejuani angle. We can just agree to be tanks. It's going to be fine. This is not it, you know? And they banned the Trundle. So obviously they wanted to pick Sejuani, but like, yes, Trundle like shreds resistances, but so does Wukong.
Yeah, and I was thinking that it was going to be a situation where they banned Trundle to get the Xin Zhao because Trundle can do pretty good into that. Like, you jump him, you steal the AD. But no, yeah, I think...
And they could have just played Xin Zhao. Like, Xin Zhao Talia was the thing that they could have done.
They could have picked it, didn't opt to, and I think we're seeing, you know, sometimes it happens, a team will start the season strong, they have a fall off, and their draft priorities are just kind of dated. This kind of feels like that, you know, on the side of Nongshim. And right now, Bro, you know, 3 dragons in pocket with that last Infernal Dragon pickup, 1 away from Soul. They have the Arakan, got a bunch of petals to boot 21, they have in pocket. And so far, they've had 1 death onto Polu.
Yeah. And that's Polu 100% doing his job.
Oh, and Hyper's the upgraded boots on Jhin.
Yep.
With Ghostblade and Rapid Fire Cannon. Because the thing is, you know, any boost in Adaptive Force... is so big on Jhin, who obviously, like, he gets the multiplier, but yeah, you get so much movement speed on Jhin, you'll actually end up with a ton of AD as a result.
It's kind of nuts. And not to mention the fact that Hype will just never be hit by piercing arrows and shock blast and things like that, because he's just going to be teleporting around the map. With how fast he goes, see already, that is the case. Polo clearing out some vision around this Baron. Nongshim do have control vision over this wall right now, as we can see. But looks like Bro not really going to be taking too many chances, continuing to respect Nongshim to the utmost degree.
I think it's difficult now as well, because Nongshim's comp, the way you get back into this game, is if Bro take too long on an objective and they're around like a Baron, and you just poke them, you know? Yeah. And you have Croco on the Baron for an extended time. But you can see that Bro just aren't even interested in doing the Baron.
Oh dear. Yeah, Croco just wants to kill Kingen, and by himself, he takes out half of his health bar. The equalizer comes in, that's going to finish it off.
Yep, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you've just sent your jungler for a bot side play, and you have no concerns that they're going to do Baron in return, which is completely the right call, but like, that's how rough Nongshim feels at the moment. The fact that, you know, your top laner dies in the bot lane, doesn't even burn the flash because he knows he's pretty dead, and on the other side of the map, you get some extra wards placed, that's it.
It's a 2-level advantage here in the jungle as well. And you can see Croco just running the show entirely. Nongshim at least do manage to get vision down around the Baron, so they're not as worried about that.
But I think
now
for
Bro can
Bro,
just move in and clear it out.
You just need to keep vision up on Baron. You don't need to start it. There's no pressure to do it. Infernal Soul in 2 minutes 30, and you just play for that. And what's probably going to happen, because it typically does, when one team is about to get Soul the other miles away, when Bro's set up for Dragon, Nongshim going to lean towards Baron, and then Bro will run over and chase them off, and then they'll just go back to Dragon and kill it, or maybe have someone solo it. That is, I 100% think that's what's going to happen. And I think at this point, Nongshim, you're looking at Hail Marys. They might just have to start Baron in 2 minutes and just go, you know what, we send it.
Yep.
Do or die.
Because then they play around Baron very effectively once they get there. With the fact that they have this composition that sieges relatively well. Side lanes, they can get some stuff done. As Calyx moving on over to this mid lane, Vital just doing his very best to keep these waves in order. Nongshim at least onto the map in a decent position. Keen transitioning towards the top side does show that they might be onto something. They might be thinking the same way you are there, Orcs. Prioritizing this Baron to teleport in from the Talia as the engage onto Lehens is decent. He's going to have to flash away, throws down the anchor as the equalizer is going to be wandered through here by Gideon, but Lehens is going to be the target and he's taken down. Bro do invest a fair bit into taking down the support, but now they're looking to just grab themselves this Baron. There are control wards all over the place right now as Closer taking a fair bit of damage. There is the piercing arrow coming through, and this Baron is taking a long time to kill. Remember, this is a Jhin composition. They're not exactly the best at taking down Barons. The flash forward from Morgan, though, as out goes Calyx. He's trying to survive. Gideon has a whole lot of tankiness, and it's Polo that just goes down. That's a good answer here for Nongshim. As once again, not pressing too far forward. Calyx looking for an angle. And Croco is going to find him. Calyx, you can't be flanking as an Azir into darkness.
And you know, this was actually a good angle for Nongshim. You could see how it started to go in their favor. I think Bro got a little bit overzealous, but then Calyx makes that flub, makes that mistake, and suddenly all the pressure is gone. Dragon up in 30 seconds, Calyx won't be alive for it. This was Nongshim, they overstep a little bit, Lehens gets caught out, but Nongshim actually find a favorable setup for them, because after this, Bro start the Baron. And the comp of Nongshim has a ton of poke, and you can see Bro don't really want to finish the Baron because it's taking so long. Croco's getting poked down. They look for this engage. Gideon gets a great interrupt. And this is all good. They're chunked out. They're low. You should keep this pressure on them. But instead, Calyx looks for this flank, and it was just such an unforced error that's immediately punished.
And he just, no need. There's no need to do that. You don't need to go for those flank angles. It is going to give the soul over to the Bros. And you mentioned this already, you just used the Baron as a bait and switch, and that's exactly what the Bros did. That's going to lock them down, this soul. It gives them so much power, man. Like, next time Morgan lays down that red carpet, I think people are just dead.
Yeah, 100%. And now they are going to slowly try and approach towards Baron. You can see the vision very in favor of Nongshim. They'll let Polo face check.
Well, he is going to do that. He does take so much damage utilizing that aftershock. They kill him, but at what cost, ladies and gentlemen? It is support for support. But Gideon's also doing his very best to try and get himself out. The curtains get called, and Closer finds a rock to the back of the head there for Bristle and Twani. Croco does find Vital. There is the Cyclone onto both of them. He's going to go down to his GA, and then once again, Closer just throwing rocks all over the place. That's Morgan finding a harpoon towards his opposite number there as well, and now Croco going to be pushing towards the inner turret. The Bros, this one's over. They have cleanly shut down Nongshim from this one. Gorgeous punishment of the draft there from Nongshim. And the Bros just playing equally as well alongside it, and that's what you love to see.
I think this is the point where they know, okay, we need to face check Baron. That's the only way. If they manage to rush the Baron, it could be a problem. And yes, Polo does end up going down, but they got so much power from securing that Infernal Soul. The gold deficit was already making fights hard, but you adding that extra boost, and it just wasn't even close here. Like, it took them a long time to take down Polo, who had that Celestial opposition, making him very bulky against that burst. But with the Infernal Soul in pocket, it's so easy to play out from here for Bro. They get the Baron as well, 10k gold lead.
Oh, God.
Look at those spikes that just came in. Bloodletter's Curse from Morgan, so that Shred even more severe. And also, what's interesting is when you go this item, it's Shred for your whole team. So Closer, he's gone towards the Rabadons. He doesn't really need the Void Staff as much when you have Morgan applying that. We've got IE for hype as well.
Oh, and you've even got a QSS on Croco. So I'm pretty sure he can get out of Mordekaiser ultimates now, right? I learned that from the LTA.
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Okay, cool. No, I had that one explained to me.
Yeah.
That was very, very cool. Good to know. 7-0-10 on the Wukong, though. He could have built whatever he likes.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely fine. He has got cash to spare. There's Calyx. Oh, there we go. Some bounty gold, boys and girls. There it is. And it means 0. It's an 11,000 gold lead. And the Bros, they've even got Weaver's Wall, right? They've got the most comfortable sieging at this stage of the game.
Yep. And the thing is, Bro just aren't hesitating. They're being quick. They know the only way Nongshim can find an advantage is they start to land consistent poke. Only Polu's been poked down. Everyone else is healthy. And they're just not giving any space for Nongshim to breathe or get set up.
Yeah, this is really, really rough. Vital does at least have his little shield, but they can't even move towards these siege minions to take them down. The Bros are able to stand so far forward to deny any sort of entrance. Gideon, he really wants to throw out that Glacial Prison, find an angle, but the Equalizer doesn't really do too much. The Weaver's Wall does come down, though, as Closer moves himself out. Lahan's realizing that they're going to have to go for something, but you can't really make something out of nothing. Nexus turret's going to be next to fall, and Nongshim just have no money. They have no chance. Kingen is looking to defect, and he's not even allowed to do that. He'll be taken down. On the Fountain is not even safe as the Nexus goes down, and the Bros move to 3 victories in a row against these teams that are vying for position in the Legend group, and maybe it was the Bros all along, as they're only 1 game away from dispatching another one.
And Nongshim, you know, I think Draft definitely gave them issues, but there was gameplay problems there too, some wrong decisions that cost them pretty heavily. This team feels like they're in free fall at the moment. You know, so many things going wrong for them. And at this point, it's not about whether they can make it into the Legend group or not. It's whether do they even want to be there, because they will just get trounced if they keep playing like this. It is still a series ahead of us. They're only down 1 point, but with everything going wrong at the moment, they really need to do a lot of workshopping quickly to regain control. Yeah, and points are very, very important between these teams, right? Nongshim is on right now +1. Well, actually right now 0. So Nongshim, KT, and DK are all on 0. Yeah. The game score is so tight between all these teams. So even if Nongshim come back and win this series 2-1, they could be kicking themselves for not taking this game even after all is said and done, because it could just come down to game score in the end. And the thing is, because we have this long season, just rounds 1 and 2, we have round 3, 4, and 5 later, these scores carry over. And so any losses here, it's not like you go, okay, it's spring, we wipe it away for summer. These losses can make a big impact for the whole year. It is always LCK 2025 until it's 2026. Let's go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we get back, the Space is going to break that one down, and we'll see whether the Nongshim Noodle Boys can get it together for Game 2.
노틸이에요. 노틸 노플.
오케이.
아 노틸 풀 돌았다. 노틸 풀 돌았다. 얘네 제이스만 노플. 그럼 깔아볼게 얘들아.
오케이.
이거 깔고 이번 차례 안무 줄게.
이번 안무는 이제 타부터 해봐. 이거
오케이.
오케이.
야 강남 아지르도 가볼게 이거. 야 노틸부터.
노트 잡았어. 노트 잡았어. 노트 잡았어.
한턴 뺄게.
제이스 뒤에 노트. 제이스
오케이.
노트 해야 돼. 제이스.
일단 다음 바텀 라인 쓰고 나 이번에 풀러 갈게 이번에.
사우차 제이스 가야 돼.
이번에 아지르도 풀러 갈게 이번에. 나 아지르 노플.
싸워야 되는데.
끝내주라. 해봐야 따라. 나와. 나이스.
Brilliant opportunity on our hands.
Yeah.
And that is to see whether changing one piece of a team is enough to throw off the synergy completely. Because we saw in this first game that it just looked like it 100% wasn't there, right? And now with Jiu coming back, having a lot more experience with the team, are the vibes going to be changed, and will the Noodles actually be able to bring us to a game 3? That is my big question.
Look, I understand making the change because obviously game 1 didn't go well, but I think if Nongshim had Viper last game, they still would have lost with how they were playing.
But that's what I mean. That's my point, is it's not about the individual player. It's about, can you actually have that hive mind mentality actually work if you just change one piece, right? Maybe it's just completing the circuit is what they needed to do.
I mean,
and
maybe that's
Jiu.
what they're hoping, but I really feel like it's I don't know. I think they need more than that. I think it was hard because you have a little bit of time between the games. I don't know what the coaching staff will have said to them, but play better is probably what you'd have time for.
I think, we were trying to lip read while we were having a look at the coach's booth. I think that's what they were saying over and over again. And Jiu was like, well, I didn't play bad. And they were like, that's true. We'll sub you in.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Bans have started to come through. Once again, going for the Yorick Trundle bans from Nongshim, despite being on a different side. They will ban away the Poppy themselves. And Calista going to get picked up. So no Trundle, no Poppy, to limit the impact of that pick.
No Trundle, Poppy, or Talia. It's actually a pretty decent angle. The Ashe still up and available, something that Hype has had a fair bit of success on in the past, so they could go towards something like that. Ashe Renata could just come on through. Then you're staring down the barrel of a Nico potentially, but
yeah, I think you might have to pick Nico away, honestly.
Scion Nico?
Because if you give over the options for the Calista, it can be really painful to play into. Like if you pick Renata and they pick Calista, Nico feels bad. But if they get Renata, that also feels bad. Victor gonna come through. They're not even giving a look in at all towards the bot lane.
So wait, is it now just like Nico Nidalee? Is that what they do? Because Kingan's already done it.
Yeah.
They could go towards it again. We'll see. And theoretically, the Nidalee would also be a flex.
Oh, so
now we're going to go with the Xin Zhao.
Now Xin Zhao exists, you know.
I don't. Maybe
last game.
Maybe when you're on the blue side, you can just see so much more clearly.
Yeah.
You know that it takes away the fog. There's a mist, you know, that hangs over you if you're on the red side. Oh god. Well, the Xin Zhao is going to come on through. This is a lot of power already for Nongshim on their side of things.
But Pantheon is also open, by the way.
Oh, so you just lock Xin Pantheon. Okay.
What?
That's a Calyx Akali.
Okay, well, I think, bro, if I'm in this situation, I just pick the Pantheon up, point and click CC into the Calista. It's been higher prio than the Xin Zhao. They are not opting to go for that. Instead, look on the Ezreal.
The mist, the fog.
Yeah.
They can't see through it.
I can't agree with some of these. I mean, I guess they want the safety into the Calista Akali. They're like, look, we need to make sure Hype is okay.
Well, it's a thick jungle that they're going to have to wade through, and instead they're going to pick up an Explorer that can possibly make his way through the mist and the fog effectively.
So I think now Bro have two options. They either ban Renata and Nico, or they ban Renata and pick Nico and ban something else. On the side of Nongshim, you're banning Pantheon, I hope. I don't see why you wouldn't in any situation ban it.
Yeah.
And then maybe you ban Braum as well. Shen? Okay, as long as it's Shen Renata, I'm okay with that.
That'd be okay.
Skarner ban comes out.
Well,
I guess
it gets rid of all of the tank junglers as well if you just ban Skarner, so they don't have that option. But you don't really want it. You've got Scion already.
Okay, so they did go Shen Renata, and that's probably going to be a Nico pick on 4, I would think. I wouldn't want to give over the Nico because it's a really strong pairing with the Calista.
Pantheon. Was Pantheon shadow banned? Is Pantheon global banned?
I thought Xin Zhao was shadow banned last game.
Yeah. Maybe it's a game 1 thing, and then game 2 is the Pantheon ban. it's a gentleman's agreement.
Maybe.
Well, we'll see whether the Spartan is going to be taken away. And there he goes.
Away. So do Bro just go for Nico here? Go for the Alistair instead.
It's a little bit dangerous, right? Because now they have no ability to pick Nico into anything, as Lehens is considering a whole bunch of different stuff. I imagine Renato is still looking pretty good, but instead it will be the Kalista Rakan. This is something that Lehens and Ruler played together a few times as well. That was a little bit further in the past. And that's Camille. Okay.
Well, that is certainly a composition.
It is.
Now looking for a jungle pick for Croco in this situation. I feel like, honestly, it could be a decent Lilia angle. Might just look at the Neferi, though. In terms of tier list of junglers, it's pretty high up there.
Yep. Still wanting some damage from the jungle, and we'll be able to lock in the Neferi. So this is, I don't know, it looked great for Nongshim as their first 2 picks were coming in. And then things went a little strange, right?
Yeah.
Calyx very, very comfortable on the Akali, though. We'll see how he is going to go on the in the matchup against Closer. Closer with a lot of Akali experience himself, so we'll know the matchup very, very well. This is an interesting one. I do feel like this is a better look for Nongshim as far as the confidence in these picks are concerned. It's not like they're self-counterpicking or leaving things open, like disrespectfully picking Sejuani into an open Wukong. Like, stuff like that hasn't happened. It's just a bit more weird.
Yeah. Yep, definitely feels like some decisions made in the draft. Not ones I would necessarily agree with. For Nongshim in this draft, they really need to get the ball rolling. A lot of these champions they have are reliant on being ahead, being able to snowball. And I think inside of Bro, this is a Bro and Brew. If I've ever seen one.
Yeah. The
game goes
Sion, Victor, my God.
Yeah, if the game goes chill, they are fine. And also, you may think, well, you know, Camille can be a problem in the later stage of the game. We haven't seen teams really able to put the impact that much in side laning. You know, we've seen occasional, like the Yorick do it. I think Sion's going to be fine into Camille later. And in team fights, you have an Alistair. If Camille ever jumps on your Ezreal, you just headbutt her away. It's that simple.
Yep. And we'll just have to see how it is going to work as Nongshim on the blue side this time around, but it's still a weird draft. Let's get into it for game 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
And I'm worried. I think the big thing that you mentioned as we were getting into this game is the fact that Bro don't have the onus on them to do stuff.
Yeah.
And that's very scary because Bro are very good at not doing stuff.
Yeah.
Especially mid to late game. And that's when they ideally want to be doing the least stuff and letting Nongshim just try for things. Nongshim, they have a lot of split pushing power, right? The 1-3-1 is going to be relatively strong, but 4-1 is probably more what they're looking towards. And eventually, I guess Morgan's not going to be able to win side lanes, but you mentioned already, like, it's not exactly set in stone. It's not clear cut, and I think Kingan's going to have to get a bit of an advantage.
Kingan definitely will beat Morgan in the late stages in the side lane, but we've seen, like, you know, in previous games, like a Sion into even like a Nidalee can just kind of weather the storm and clear the waves. That's all you need to do. You don't need to kill Kingan. You just need to stop him from taking towers, and that's pretty straightforward. And Sion can always just TP in and then have impact immediately with the ult, so I don't think it's a big deal. I will say, though, Croco's playing the Neferi, really strong skirmishing champion. You cannot skirmish into this Nongshim composition very easily. A lot of champions on their side, excellent in these little scraps, so you have to be cautious there.
Yeah, a bit dangerous. Didn't have a lot of junglers left over that he really wanted to be playing. So just went for the doggo instead. Still, might be able to find some value.
On Sion, by the way.
Yeah, this is the Bros, right? This is a Rise team right now that we're seeing in, you know, like 7th place.
6-0. You know, it's crazy because I feel like the only team who has records like that is like Gen G, maybe Hanwha, and even then, like some champions, they don't have that good records. 6-1 is kind of crazy for a pick for a team who are on the bottom half of the standings.
Yeah, they're not really doing that well. So most of the time, when Morgan picks the zombie man, he's just having a good time. See whether Kingan is going to be able to show him whether it's going to work. As you can see here, 6 in a row for the Camille. She's been doing very, very well. Kingen is one of these victories at the same time. Morgan, of course, no stranger to the Camille, but right now he's bearing the brunt of the poor matchup. Although this is not when it's supposed to be that bad. It's supposed to be kind of all right for now.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he was trading back pretty decently.
Yeah. And as far as farm is concerned, things are absolutely A-okay for the Scion.
I think that's the thing is that, like, if this had been a Yorick, later game, much harder to deal with in the side lane, but less impact in team fights. Camille kind of trades impact in side lane compared to some of the really devious split pushers.
Yeah.
For being a great team fighter, traditionally, but a hard comp to team fight into here.
Oh, golly.
Mid lane not going so hot so far.
This is sort of how it's supposed to go, but it feels a bit worse than that.
Yeah.
At this point in time, Gideon getting to work on the Rift Scuttler on the bottom side. Nongshim are passively moving into a little bit of an advantage, largely to do with top lane and bottom lane. And Calyx not going to get hit by that death rate. That is certainly good news. Now going to go finally for a reset. Only 5 CS behind is now Kingen setting up for something. There is a Doggo making his way in towards his top side as Kingen finds the angle beautifully. Doesn't even need to flash as the Doggo's the unfortunate dagger placement there from Croco, not going to even get the bleed, and Kingen's just going to go for a reset.
With the second dagger, with the execute damage, I think Kingen would have had to flash if that connected. So big moves from him to get away from that one. Croco doing well to block the stun, not letting him get any more distance, but it's just not quite enough. Does give Morgan a pretty chill reset, though, in this situation.
That's true. So he's about a wave in the lead. Wave going to crash, so it's not necessarily the case. Double knockup to come through here from Lehens, who might just be dead. He does get stunned up by the trample, and now Gio able to at least trade things back. But Lehens always playing on the edge. Yeah,
Polo actually played that so well, stacking the trample up, stunning to interrupt the dash because he just layered his PC. And really punishing Lehens here. Does end up trading the Ignite for that punish, though.
It was a bit weird. It kind of looked like a Alistair had steadfast presence.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
But does mean Jiwoo would stick around, confident on the Callista, but it does mean Polo and Hype will be able to get this crash.
And that is the Bros moving back towards gold parity as well. There was, slight laning leads being set up here by Nongshim. As Mystic Shot going to be able to tag that W nicely. And now with Lehens coming back, he should be A-okay. Kingen still taking Q after Q. And Morgan will just be punching these minions down. Gideon, starting off this dragon.
Is that a...
Nongshim once again might be able to get the first one.
Is that a longsword I see in Morgan's inventory?
Yes. Okay. See what that turns into, as Lehens going to be discovered here. Croco just going to front flip out of the grand entrance. As that control ward will be eliminated. Some lower health bars here as the Arcane Storm comes down and Closer will get engaged on. It's a great gravity field as Polo getting amongst it. These health bars are going so low as Jiu needs to get himself out of there. Lehens finds no one and out goes Calyx. They don't lose anyone, but Hype is going to find the kill on the jungler. That's first blood going over to the Ezreal, and Hype taking matters into his own hands.
Polo, though, his play in that fight, we've seen Alistair be so heavily prioritized. Some of our players have had some fantastic Alistair performances. Delight, Duro comes to mind.
Oh, yeah.
But Polo really showing his mastery of the champion. There's an earlier trade on the Hens, which is pretty well played, but this one, completely saving Closer from that situation with the flash Q and the headbutt away. And I feel like this is the point where Nongshim start to worry a bit, like, we gave him this champion. I mean, you see them, they go for the engage in a Closer, is that a mobile Victor? And then Polo with a triple knockup into the gravity field, headbutts Jiu away as well, into the Arcane Storm. And immediately that snap play from Nongshim in the bin.
Yeah, and they do manage to then theoretically get out, but Hype is like, nah, man. I've got the Arcane Shift Flash Q.
And you know what? That was pretty hype.
It was. That was definitely, that was a high play. And also gives Bro a real advantage, because otherwise it's just a whole bunch of trades of summoner spells and things like that. And maybe they're not as comfortable taking down the dragon, but instead, Hype gets that kill, takes down the enemy jungler, they're guaranteed the Drake, and they get themselves a slight gold advantage at the same time. It's not a huge one, but like you said already, it's just feeling like the Bros have the vibes today.
Absolutely.
Nongshim haven't found it at all.
We have some committed Bro taxpayers, I
oh,
think,
yeah.
is the lesson.
And every time I look over at that Twitch chat, there is some purple to be represented.
That's
and it's all you guys. It's all you guys.
We've said this before. Just because they're in a good spot now doesn't mean you stop paying the bro tax.
Oh no, no. It's a subscription model by the minute.
Yep.
That's how that one goes.
We've seen things quickly go south when people stop paying it.
Yeah, well, Morgan is just going to move over and hit some minions. Croco has started up the Void Grubs as well. Vision is available there for Nongshim, but they don't have the priority to be able to lock that one down. It's not going to be for quite some time that they will have mid lane priority. Maybe they'll need to move you into the areas. Okay, Calyx looking aggressive as he finds the ulti, gets the backflip as well. One more, and he will be able to get it. And that, as I was saying it, he just picks up the kill. The flash out from the ulti that wasn't going to hit. He just gives it to Hype because he deserves it. He's got himself his solo kill, and that is the answer. Nongshim back on the board in a big way.
Big play from Calyx, and one of these champions on the side of Nongshim, you really want to be ahead in this game. Finds solo kill. Kingen having a little bit less fun into the Scion, you know, but
yeah,
that's okay. Camille, obviously, I think Camille a lot less snowball dependent than Akali. And this is the thing that really inspires a lot of confidence for for Nongshim, sorry, when you see a play like this happen. Manages to ult out of the Arcane Storm, and Closer just runs out of cooldown, doesn't have that ability to get away, and Croco is there a little late. The ult from Gideon to knock him away is beautiful.
Yeah, so Calyx didn't quite need to flash towards the end of that one, but also didn't have a whole lot of information, and doesn't kill himself with the flash. I've seen those flashes go into certain ultimates, so that one working out. So now, things kind of changing up, because now as the all-in is possible here for Calyx, it's going to get even easier here for the second time of asking. And at level 9, it's even going to be more scary, right? Like the 5-point strike is dangerous. Well, now we've got a game on our hands. I'm starting to see it. It's here. I mean, it's faint, but it is here.
Yeah.
600 gold, the lead for the Bros, though, as I try not to get ahead of myself.
I mean, this is going to be a very explosive game. This is a game where a couple of plays gone in the right or wrong direction can really influence it quickly.
Yep, and a bit of Brotax here and there is going to be the difference maker. Obviously, the influx of Brotax just wasn't quite there for the last few moments, and then Calyx takes advantage. Morgan going to have to flash to get himself out of the way of the hands. The Brotax, where is it? It's getting engaged on, having to use flashes?
Yeah.
Just shows that we haven't got enough to invest.
A little bit slacking, you know, only takes a moment.
It does. Well, I don't think the noodles are out of the woods just yet. I think the Brotax is still looking fine.
Yeah, no, oh, Morgan.
Okay, Fate's Call going to come on through there as he does ult to make sure that he doesn't get CC'd, but I still think that as he gets corralled, he's still going to get taken down. Yet the sticks get ripped out. Where's that Brotax? Is now the engage onto Kingen, but he's hook shotting away, and he is absolutely fine. Has no priority here towards his bottom side of the map, so the tower could take a lot of damage, but still Nongshim trading up in a big way.
Yeah, finding this pick on a Morgan, his ult was down at the very start of that play, so couldn't just ult out of any CC that comes in. Obviously, Flash has been before and does end up getting punished, so pretty sad for Morgan there.
Yep, and now Hextech Dragon going to get started up here by the Bros. A teleport in from Calyx, though. This may not be taken without a fight. It's never mind. Jiu's on the top side of the map, so not likely that one is going to happen as Blast
Dragons for Bro would actually be huge.
Yeah, this is massive. And that is just going to be taken. Next one going to be a Chemtech, and I can see you're right here. You're paying attention, but there wasn't enough Brotax.
Yes, that's
what it was. That's what it was.
Exactly.
Did you have a small moment just thinking about how good that hummus was?
Yep, that was it. Honestly, the hummus brain right now.
Hummus brain is it's a tough one, and not one that we're going to blame you for.
Some good hummus.
Yeah. All right. Well, that means that we get a Chemtech Soul. Hopefully, we don't have another one today. One is fine. You know, one is okay.
No one can stay focused the whole day.
Yeah, exactly. As Calyx misses a cannon, he's not focused. Or maybe now he is. Focused on being a little bit tilted because he missed out on that cannon. Calyx going to be able to take down that ward. As Croco moving over, some honey fruit. Going to speed up Calyx momentarily as the doggos can eat the shurikens, which is kind of annoying. Follow over the wall. Gideon in position. Calyx moving forward. Croco going to get discovered here by Gideon. Or is it the other way around? As the quickness comes on through, they manage to CC Croco for so long, but he goes untargetable, gets over the wall, and the gravity well is so good here from Closer. Polu's will is unbreakable, but I don't know whether his body is, as he will be taken out. The True Shot Barrage, not enough to kill Calyx there, and now Gideon looking for even more. I don't know how that worked there for Calyx. And now he's looking for even more as Lehens gets on over. Calyx gets a bit of his health bar back as the death rate. Like, just go back, please, man. You're giving us all heart attacks.
Now Croco trying to contest his red buff against Gideon.
Well, when Becomes Lightning does come on through, the Mega Blast Cone will be able to get Gideon to the other side of the map, so he is absolutely fine. And Plate's going on over to Jiu.
Okay, Lehens is going for the Blood Song for Khan.
Okay.
Which, you know, it's not the first time we've seen it, but
it might be the first time we see it look good. As okay, Polu doesn't have ulti, so he's taking some real damage here.
The way I view it is Rakan is pretty squishy, right, as far as engaged supports go.
Indeed.
And if there was an option that made you a lot harder to burst, I think I would go for it.
But what if you just get flashes like this, you know?
You can do that with Celestial Opposition, is all I'm going to say. That's not a Blood Song requirement. But definitely wanted to snowball the game, I'll say that much. Here, Croco face checks, and Nongshim, no, if you want to punish interfere, you have to be snappy with a CC. That immediate layering from the Hens, not quite having the damage thanks to Polu's Peel, but Polu's Peel means he just sacrifices himself in return.
Yeah, and even with the Unbreakable Will, it's not quite enough.
Yeah, Closer not quite pumping enough damage yet. You know, there will come a point in the game where if you do that when a Victor's nearby, you will suffer. But right now with 0 stack out of ages, he's kinda not doing a ton. And this is what I was kind of talking about coming to the draft. The skirmishing power of Nongshim, especially in the early mid game, really potent and something that Bro needs to respect.
And it might be able to get Nongshim some feats of strength. Just needs to be a race towards that first turret. Bottom outer is looking low for the Bros.
I'm gonna ask you a question.
What's up?
Max.
Yes.
We saw an item being built towards by Morgan. With a longsword in it.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This is actually kind of hype. You were talking about how broken this item is. As down goes Lehens. He's just dead. Not too much
Did you think this should be the item?
Well, no. But now that I see it, I kind of feel awesome for that.
I mean, it does restore missing health.
Yeah, and he will, if he ever goes low, miss a lot of health.
He does have a lot of health.
It's kind of cool. It's like Battle Scion.
Yeah, it's not like the full glass cannon lethality Scion that I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with.
Yeah.
A little bit bulkier than that. But an interesting take. Personally, I think he could have just gone the tank build and you know, been really tanky.
I just kind of like that he's like, if it works for Poppy, I may as well see whether it works for Scion.
The thing with Poppy is you do get that ranged auto attack to chuck at people, which is really useful for it. But you know, I'm always open to see what people are cooking up, and we'll see what Morgan's able to do this game.
And he wants to be stacking the grasp as well, you know? So he does want to be making sure he gets as many auto attacks in. It just gives him added incentive and more safety to do so.
Yeah, but it doesn't make the cool noise the Heartsteel does, you know?
Yeah, true. We don't see many Scions even build Heartsteel, so I
honestly,
guess it's okay.
If they really want to make Sundered Sky overpowered, give it a cool noise when you proc it.
Well, Kingin looking for a battle here, and Polu's going to say, we'll make it unfair. As he does have Hextech Ultimatum, it's just we don't really see the possibility of making that one happen. Still, Hookshot is broken, and so he does get himself out. May not save the turret, though, as we can see. 2 members up here. Hype now possibly in trouble as Jiu going aggressive. Fate's Call going to get on in there as the double charm comes through. Gideon with a great follow-up onto Hype, and over the wall goes Jiu, and they take down the Ezreal. Croco trying to keep them interested as the teleport does come in. Croco is untargetable, but then just dead. And Bro, they're trying to salvage an already doomed situation, and it is not quite working. Closer gets knocked up, but Jiu is going so low, the Ren doesn't quite work. He gets over the wall, he gets the kill, and now it's Gideon to take down Closer. He flashes so the gravity doesn't hurt him, and he comes down soft as a feather.
Able to find a huge pick there onto Hype, and Bro opted into a lost situation. Instead of it just being a 1 for 0, so many members of Bro come down, ends up being 4 for 2. Gideon gets a chance to throw down the Herald. It will be Morgan who gets a tower first, though, so feet strength to Bro. But here, Hype a little bit too far forwards. Doesn't have flash, arcane shifts, but the follow-up is there, and Gideon, importantly, with damage here. And Croco, you know, playing the Neferi, you don't really have any way to keep them locked in a tower. He goes in so deep so early on, before the backup is there. I think this was a bit too risky. It was one of those plays where, like, we don't want them to leave, so go in now, but you just die.
Yeah, Gideon also had the knock-up primed perfectly to make sure that Croco just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And he was just CC'd forever.
Fortunately, Closer did end up killing G, otherwise it would have been pretty devastating.
And gets the flash out of Gideon here.
Yeah, did have flash himself, but opted to save it in that situation, which I think is okay.
And
right now,
it is time for the Chemtech stacking.
Yeah.
The Quadra Chemtech Soul.
Man.
Imagine it. All right, Morgan going for a little bit of a run here. And they're going to try and turn it into a potential engage. Calyx get taken down relatively low, and they're looking for the turret first. They will be able to find it. Hextech ultimatum. And Morgan, he doesn't like ultimatums. There are 4 people here. It's so unfair. And no real options. But as we said, it's an ultimatum. There is never really an option.
Yeah, not going so hot right now for Bro.
No.
And, you know, we said this composition for Nongshim, you need to get the ball rolling. You need to get ahead. They have done that. They have ticked the boxes for what they needed to do. And right now, you have a Fed Calista, you have a Fed Zinzao, even a Fed Camille. All positive things for this comp.
It's exactly what you're looking for. And I guess the only thing is, like you were saying, the ticking time bomb that is this Victor. And Closer has been so good for this squad as well. He has taken the grasp. So he'll be a pretty healthy boy as well. 2 items now completed, looking to stack up that Rod of Ages, still only at 5 for now. But he is going to be huge. It's just whether or not he's going to be huge enough to get through this deficit. It's only like 2,000, so it's not like crazy or anything like that.
Yeah.
Lahen's unable to stop that back.
This is where it gets a little tricky for Nongshim because you're in a great spot, don't get me wrong, but your dragon options are so far away. It's a Chemtech soul, which isn't really a soul that's like as immediately game-winning compared to some of the others, and you're also 3 dragons from it, which is an absurdly long amount of time.
Yeah.
So really, you're looking at this Arakan, you're looking at this Baron and being like, those are the win cons. Those are the things you need to secure and keep the pace forwards, keep pushing the pace of the game to make things go in their favor. It is Arakan and Baron on the same side of the map, so they can't just heavily set a vision around that area.
Yep.
Well, Baron is still a while away.
And also denying, you know, Soul Point from Bro, a good idea as well, does give them the ability to fight around the Arakan as it has just spawned now. 3 minutes until the next Dragon is up and 4.5 until that Baron does come on through. Baron secure for a composition with a Callista, needs no introduction, of course. And so, like you say, playing around that area, going to be a good one. Kingin looking for item number 2, and as these items continue to come in, he is going to be more and more devastating. Able to buffer the hookshot quite nicely there and does get himself out of the way as the minion wave was dealt with. So it's an interesting, I think that the scaling conversation is a really interesting one because Bro have such a standard team fighting front to back comp, but there's also the fact that who deals with Kingin in side lanes, right? Like Calyx, when he gets on top of Closer, does any, like, if he's ever discovered, he can't side lane to answer that.
That Arakan is just gone.
It's just dead, yeah. As Lahen's is going to be spotted by Croco. He's Rakan.
I think the thing with the Camille on the side lane is if Morgan's playing it correctly, you shouldn't really be under threat. You just clear the waves out. That's all you need to do.
And then you get your health back by using your Sundered Sky.
Yeah. But even then, like, it's kind of hard for Camille to force that hard onto you when you have such a big shield.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time you'll be near your turret. It does mean Camille gets a bit more free window to roam, and when you lose TP, that's when it can be problematic. But I don't think
the fact that Kingin will be out of 2-shot turrets as the game goes.
Just don't let him hit the turret, you know?
Yeah.
We've even seen before, like, I always
kill the wave before it even gets there.
We go back to that situation where, like, it was Rich on the Scion against, I think it was Zeus' Nidalee, and he just refused to hit the wave, and it's just like, just kill the, that's your job, just kill the wave, just kill the wave. That's all you need to do. I do think, though, one thing is that even though, like, I give the scaling edge to Bro, the thing is, a Nongshim composition, the way that composition plays is like, we're going to assassinate your backline. And no matter how late the game gets, if Closer's in the wrong space and gets blown up, you can just lose off that. Like, even if you're like, hey, we have full build Victor, I mean, obviously he's quite bulky now, he's going towards the Zhonya's, it's going to make it harder, but sometimes you Zhonya's and you're like, this doesn't change things.
No.
You're still in a terrible spot. I just die a little bit later.
For Victor, it can help you a bit more, you know. Gravity Field is delayed, and the Arcane Storm will always be doing damage. But still, Nongshim now able to get a bit of vision here towards this bottom side. Bro got the memo, though. They know that playing for top side is going to be very important. That's why they've invested a lot into getting vision around their red buff. It is going to be there now. Gideon looking to come on over and try and deny some of that, as Kingen is pushed really far up with less vision than he'd need. A little bit scary. Croco biding his time here, as Kingen will be able to figure out that there is a ward in this area.
And you know what? Morgan's doing what he needs to do. He just kills the wave.
Yep. And he's also building a Sunfire Cape, which is more kill the wave.
Yep. He really wants to kill the wave.
I love that.
It's not clear. Not really seeing the Sundered Sky tech get that much value so far, but, you know, who am I to question our Lord?
Exactly. Okay, special delivery here as the Hextech Ultimatum comes in. Lehens was in position, and Kingen's now trying to escape, and he may just do that. Morgan looking to come on over. He flashes after Kingen and finds the Q, but he's super far up now, and Polu is in danger on the back end. Calyx going ridiculous mode, but isn't going to be able to find too much. Still, they manage to take down the cow, and Closer goes in. And so does Hype. He's able to take down the Akali, but at what cost? Chiyu is just throwing sticks into everyone and ripping them out. That's a double kill for the Kalista, and they just kind of forgot about him.
Bro were the ones forcing that fight, and we're like, hey, maybe we found a pick here, maybe we found something, committing so many resources to try and kill Kingen, and then just opting into this crazy fight.
I want to get the comms from Bro with Morgan just saying, got him, as he's like in between two turrets charging a Q and instantly dying after killing the Camille.
I hate to say this, Max. I think this is heresy, but maybe there was too much Bro touch. Morgan's like, I'm under tower, I'm tanking both Kalista and a tower without a care in the world. Perhaps should have had some care.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a care.
Yeah,
maybe. No, if there was more Bro tax though, the Bro tax could have then paid for the awareness seminar.
Yeah, true. Closer living to his namesake because he wants to be closer to the melee champions on the enemy team. Just dies.
They really, like, we have over-indexed in the investment of Brotax into confidence.
Yeah, this is some misallocation of funds.
Yeah.
I think so. You get a pass on this one, chatters. I don't think this was a fun. The amount wasn't the problem. And now the thing is, they're looking towards this Baron. Closer doesn't have a stasis anymore. The Seeker's Arm God is broken. Croco doesn't have flash.
Yeah, Calyx hunting for a bit of an angle here as Croco going to be discovered on a control ward. In goes Lehens, finds the triple knockup as the Hextech Ultimatum comes down as well. Croco just not allowed into this pit as Calyx is going to find him, and then he gets distracted by a low Ezreal. It's a double kill. Both of the carries eliminated by the young mid laner of Nongshim. Bro will be taken down. Morgan is going to be able to kill a control ward, but that is all they can get, and Nongshim, it took them a little bit of time to wake up, but wake up they did.
Yeah, maybe that was the issue with them being first series of the day. They have finally fully woken up, and they are playing with this comp with such confidence. They know the win con, they know the game plan. Lehens using this recon to great effect here, getting on top of all of the backline of Bro.
Yeah, Lehens honestly has had an incredible game thus far, and I wonder what the Wadid TV is going to tell us about this one. As so many of his plays were so pivotal. There's the knock-up on Apollo, who also wasn't playing too badly, but Nongshim able to follow up just gorgeously on what Lehens has been able to put down. 5-1 and 5 for Calyx as well, a return to form for him, as the Nexus goes down and we got a 3-gamer on our hands. And
you know what? I wasn't sure whether Jiwoo coming in would make a big difference. I felt like the problems with this lineup weren't necessarily down in the AD carry, but Jiwoo had a phenomenal game. You know, his time out of the LCK roster seems to have done him well. Came in on this Kalista and was a pivotal piece as to why they were successful there.
Really, really nicely done. And you could feel that Nongshim were kind of just feeling a little bit more. I think also the draft was, you know, better. They weren't just instantly double counterpicked in their first two picks. So as we head deeper into Fearless, it might be that a team that has Lehens on it is just going to be feeling a bit better, right? There are so many of these bans that need to be thrown towards him.
The Shen, the Elise,
yeah,
still haven't seen the Singed.
Exactly right. And so a ton of options Kingen also very extensive champion pool, and maybe the bros are going to be stretched a little bit thinner.
Camille now 7-0.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts,
so
man.
far. Getting a lot of value in these fights. And Closer doing a lot of damage, but just not quite enough. It felt like this game meandered a little bit for a time, and then just Nongshim twisted a knife.
Yep, and Lahen's always there, starting up the fights. It's really great when he just decides it's time to lock in, guys. We need Legend Group, we need it now, and I know how to get it. And he absolutely does almost every time. The Rakan looking really, really good. We are going to go to a short break. When we get back, the Space going to break this one down, and then we'll have the deciding match between Nongshim and Bro.
설마 한거 왔다. 해볼래 설마? 붙어봐. 얘네 다 노플이야 얘들아. 이제 10초. 야 이거 나 필리 잡지 말고 얘들아 알리부터 아래 거부터. 알리 연하다. 아래 거부터. 짜오 3주간 먹고 내가 알리 먹어줄게. 보자. 알리부터. 다 올게. 알리. 아 잡자. 천천히. 다 올게 줘 얘들아. 다. 다행이다. 나쁜 내리고 봅시다.
I'm confused.
Why?
Noodle Dory. Victory.
Yeah, Noodle Dory, that's why.
Right. But it starts with a D, so I got really confused. Speaking of confused, let's see what champions are going to be picked on red side 1 and 2. Because that has always led to confusion throughout this entire series. And it's Nongshim that are doing it again, and they were the best at it in game 1.
Yeah, do you see that Pantheon banned away here? Which was surprisingly after the second rotation last time, not something we often see. And we have the Yorick banned by Nongshim again. They were banning Yorick and Trundle every game so far.
Yep, and that, if it's the final ban here, it will be exactly the same bans. Oh, never mind. Okay, so Trundle is up. I don't know whether it's first pickable, but they will ban away the Braum. Why?
I don't know.
Did I put you on the spot there just a little bit too much?
I'm just thinking maybe if you really want to prioritize Leona in this situation, a lot of the engaged supports are gone, you know?
Okay.
Have Rakan, Nord, Rel, and Alistair. They do pick the Yone for closer. No Sejuani to pair up with it since that was taken in game 1.
Is it time for the Gideon Poppy? That's my question.
I think it could be a good pickup here.
Could be an angle.
We'll come the Ahri into the Yone first and foremost. And I think the thing with the Poppies, you can pick it and feel confident in it as a flex.
That's a Nidalee. That'll be locked in.
Is technically a flex.
True.
No clear indication where it's going to go yet.
Have we come full circle? Is it time for Nidalee mid lane?
Throw back to the old times. The Nidalee Corki combo.
Oh god, we've seen this one before.
Yeah, doesn't really inspire particular joy. But it does give a decent amount of poke. assuming it's Nidalee jungle, Corki mid. It could be that Nidalee top lane still. Nothing really confirmed so far. And looking to pair some AP with that AD mid laner and also match the clear speed that Nidalee has.
Yeah.
Proco looking at the Lilia right now.
I feel like Lilia is a good choice as well. It denies Kingen from going towards something a little bit more tanky, which is what you can do with some more damage coming out of the jungle. Because, of course, Lilia does a lot of max health damage. And now, what does Morgan do? The Poppy will be locked in. So the top lane Poppy here for Morgan.
Could also be support, though. So
True.
Has that flexibility option. And now Nongshim trying to make up their minds what they want to do in response. I think you only really know solidly what the mid jungle is from the side of Bro. And maybe we'll give away. I feel like you could just pick like an AD carry here or a support, and then you keep that Nidalee as a flex. Do go with the Leona for some setup. They did have that Braum band away. If I'm Bro in this moment, I'm like, okay, let's put the Poppy support. Because the Braum's gone. The Poppy is a good matchup for the Leona. Can block his Zenith Blade. I think you'd be happy with that. And we'll see whether Nongshim expect that. They're going to start off with the Tristana ban, denying that from hype.
Interesting one. Absolutely.
There is still that MF open and available, and even though I've said this so many times, we don't see teams combo the sleeping bullet time very well.
No.
They do like to pick it together.
They do. And it still works, right? Like, even if the sleep is broken a while before, you've held them in place for a few moments, does mean that you can find some good angles to get your Misfortune into position. As final ban to come through now for Nongshim Red Force. The AD carry pool really getting thinned out as that Ashe is going to be taken away as well as the Tristana. See what else is going to leave at the same time. The Ornn going to be banned away.
So expecting that Poppy in the support role. And, you know, with Yorick gone, Sion gone, Ornn gone, a lot of options taken away from Morgan in the top lane.
Yeah.
And I think as much as people do like picking Nidalee into like a Sion, I think tank and just scale, he's a pretty good strategy into her. Have to pick a champion that's trying to match her is a lot more uncomfortable.
I wonder how... okay, it's just Renekton Nidalee, baby. As Kingen going to be locking that one down. Of course, Slice and Dice a little bit more difficult to use into a Poppy, but you imagine the Renekton will probably have a decent time, at least earlier on, into this champion, and can still just walk up and stun.
I still think that they'll probably put... I mean, this is where it gets difficult, because the Poppy, obviously a good defensive pick. I think you can actually go Jax here, if I'm being honest. I think you go Jax, put the Poppy support, probably pick up the MF. Because I think the Poppy into the Leona is such a good matchup, and I think, you know, Jax is being picked into the Renekton plus whatever for such a long time, just because of that Counter-Strike having so much value. We know Morgan could definitely play the Jax, so I would think that would be the pick for me, because I don't know what else you really want to pick up in either lane. Because if you go Poppy top, then what do you take support into this Leona?
Well, the Aatrox is going to be a consideration instead.
Not feeling so positive about this one. Because I feel like, you know, there's this ability that Jax has. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Counter-Strike.
I have heard of it.
Aatrox does not have Counter-Strike.
Oh. Well, Senna doesn't have Counter-Strike either. That is going to be the choice here for Giu. Alongside the Leona, we've seen farming Senna really launch into the spotlight here. As Edgar looking real happy with how this draft has eventuated. I think, once again, this is looking a lot more like Game 1 as opposed to Game number 2 for the Bros. As far as this draft is concerned, a lot more cohesion. And Nongshim, yes, they have a lot of answers. They've got this double AD carry composition alongside the Nidalee. They've got Nidalee Renekton for a lot of early game topside power. And they have a lot of better vibes after that victory does come on through. Lahan's looking pretty serious here at the same time as coaches going to bow and walk off stage. We'll see. Remember, guys, the stakes could not be higher. For Nongshim especially, but for Bro as well, if they want to hold on to their dreams of the Legend Group. Every single match is so important because it won't get reset until next year.
Yep. Yeah, you do not want to drop any if you can help it, but also Nongshim trying to keep their hopes alive for the Legend Group. And on the other side for Bro, just trying to keep their hopes alive for the road to MSI. You know, they're a long way away from potentially going to MSI, but to even have a chance, they do need to win this series.
I mean, they're only like there's a few games between them, but they're 7th, right? You need 6th in order to get in there. We won't tell you the rest of the stats because it becomes a little bit more daunting as far as getting up there is concerned, but every win is important. Let's dive into the Rift here for the deciding game between Nongshim and Bro.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the final game of this series. Remember, after this, we have the last series of the week, being K versus KT. KT, another team, vying for position here alongside DK and Nongshim.
And this is one of these situations where Nongshim, they've got a lot of early power with like that Renekton Nidalee. The Corki's going to have prio as well into the Yone. But if you get a lead and you sort of start to move into the mid to late game, you have so much range and poke in this composition. It's going to feel suffocating if Bro fall behind. But I think if Bro can make it to the later stages and they get to the team fights, you know, they have a lot of team fighting power. There's a lot of good targets to engage onto with the set of the Corki, the Nidalee. So I think it's definitely feeling a little bit Bro and Brew again for Bro here. But I think if they give up too much space, we'll see a repeat of game 2.
I'm a little bit worried. Polo, I think, a lot on his shoulders as far as getting things done is concerned. Bit of a 1-2 punch coming on through there, but Poppy pretty happy. And Hype not going to get too much value out of the double up. So laning just going to ensue. You have to remember that Senna, very early on, going to be doing a whole lot of work, and the Misfortune pretty good in the early stages of the game. So I'm expecting Bro to have a bit of prio here towards the bottom side, even if top side of the map not going to be somewhere where priority is going to be easy.
Yeah, also the fact it is the Poppy into the Leona, it's very hard for Leona really to find angles, even more so when Hype has cleansed.
Yeah.
Often we see the support picked in the Poppy be like the Nautilus, because even if you get blocked, the hook still connects. You're still able to find something with Leona. Until you get your ult, if Polu's on point with their steadfast presence, you're just not going to be able to engage.
Well, we got first picks across the board, as we can see here for Nongshim. Quite a few of those on Bro's side of things as well. Both of these junglers having not played these two champs so far in the LCK. Gideon on the Nidalee is going to be an interesting one because Nidalee does often require a license in order to pilot. And because he hasn't played it so far this season, we're not sure whether that needs to be refreshed or not.
So what you're saying is this is his test?
Yes, this is feeling like it. Right now, going to be starting off with some pretty aggressive pathing, moving towards this top side now, trying to take away the blue buff from Croco. Should be successful here, as Croco is making his way in. Still, yeah, Gideon comes on over, gets the smite. Still, watch out, Eep comes through. Pounce over the wall, Gideon does make it out, but still looking a little worse for wear.
Yeah, unfortunately Croco, him throwing the bowling ball over the wall just signals to Gideon that he's coming. Gideon immediately smites and secure it, doesn't want to take the chance, and will back off to his own jungle. You know, both these junglers do clear really fast, but Nidalee is that one who has so much mobility to get in, get a camp, get away, so I like that Gideon is taking the early initiative.
Yeah.
Trying to set himself ahead.
Should be out of 3 buff as well, as far as the start is concerned. Not even going to give up a crab either, as that is what he's prioritizing now, as we can see here, thanks to the observers. So a big start here for Gideon. You can see things are actually even as far as camps, but there aren't very many of them left over for Croco to go towards, and whereas there is the Krogs and the red buff here for Gideon. We'll see then where he goes. As topside, pretty gankable. As Nidalee Renekton, that's kind of the thing. That's what they're supposed to do.
Oh, it's a thing?
Yeah.
Renekton? Oh.
That is a thing.
Yeah. I think I've heard of that before.
Yep. Teams have done it in the past.
Yeah, you know what? I've also heard there's this thing, Zeri Lulu. I don't know if you heard of that.
Ah, I have heard of that one. What about
yeah.
Lucian Nami?
Oh, Lucian, rings a bell.
Well, Polo is making his way towards this mid lane, and he's out again.
Yeah, this is one of the things with the Poppy, is you can stop dashes, which sounds great into Nidalee and Corki. But there's a lot of situations where they're just going to be able to dash away before you even get close to them.
Yeah. Calix is now taking a fair bit of damage here from Closer, whose Yone has been fantastic this season. As Wolf likes to say, it's the year of the Closer. He has been playing exceptionally well. This is one of the champions that really has given him that name. As Jiu and Lehens pushing up towards Hype here, as there was the slight room from Polu. Gideon back towards his bottom side. You can see now a couple of camps in the lead ahead of Croco. but no big advantages being built up yet. Yeah, it's like 400, something like that. This is a bit of value from Polu. You're going to need a bit more in that Piercing Darkness to try and get something done. But as we can see here, things very even as far as farm in the bottom lane between the Misfortune and the Senna. Which you can imagine as a champion that scales to infinity, you're pretty happy as Kingen goes in. Finding a bit of slice value into Morgan, who does get the Infernal Chains to land.
I feel like the thing with the Senna... Oh
dear. Well, let's see whether this spear is going to connect as he waits for the watch out. Eep. Is he just going to go in and steal it away? Spear is going to miss, so yeah, he is just going to try and take his stuff. He doesn't really care about killing Bambi. He just wants to make her have a rough time. Not going to actually work out here, though, as Closer down relatively low, and Polu in position early. There's the flash forward from Croco as Calix. He avoids the ult from Closer, but he's still just dead. First blood going over to the Yone, and the Corki just caught out of position. Kingen not interested.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how that play started for Calix. Obviously, we saw what was happening in the jungle. I think Calix wanted to move to support his jungler and just ended up in such a bad situation.
I think the roam up from Polo as well, just catching him off guard.
And making some bad decisions, because there's a lot of scenarios where you can path back in your jungle and you're fine. But not sure how he got exactly to there, and I think he could have just gone over the wall, right, from the...
Oh, bowling ball missed, but never...
Iron Pit.
Huh. I don't think it's end of the world. You can see as far as gold, it hasn't really changed too much, but first blood, good bit of gold injected into the Yone, which is kind of where they want it.
He'd also save his flash, so has that still for the safety.
All right, this time Gideon finds the spear, as they are really trying to make sure that Croco isn't able to like get any of his stuff.
Yeah. Trying to do a lot of denial. Not working that well.
No.
Especially since Croco is more farm than Gideon.
Yeah, and it's because he's been winning out on the sort of smite fights when they do come in to try and contest, if he's actually ever there. Outside of maybe that first blue buff, is now Kingen could be in trouble. Remember, no Dominus available, as he will break the chains that bind and walks his way out. Walk.
Such a powerful strategy.
It is
effective.
It's really
a little bit left, a little bit right, and he's out.
All right, Polu gonna come on over, make this a 2v2.
You know, so far slow game. I think pretty okay for Bro in this regard. You know, we haven't really seen the Nidalee Renekton pair up so well so far.
Not just yet. Some opportunities to make things work later in the game, of course. The Leona going to be helping out as well, as speaking of which, he goes in, sends Closer out pretty immediately as the bowling ball does pick the gap between all of the Nongshim players.
Yeah, unfortunately the stun onto Closer, even though they did the change where the stun carries through when he gets to the other end, he is still a very far distance away from
he still gets to the other end.
Yeah. Oh, Jiwoo wants that soul. Just go for it. You know you want it.
Oh, he's going to take that one instead.
Will you get bullet time for it? Yes, 100%. But, you know.
Calix starting to be able to stand his ground and get some work done here, as he has a couple of long swords in his pocket. Gideon wants these grubs. Should be able to get all of them. Morgan coming on over. And we'll try to convince him to leave. And Gideon's like, nah, not really convinced. So he's going to take the last one and move on.
Leaves on his own terms. So 3 grubs picked up for Nongshim. Pretty nice there. Especially, we talk about them want to get more pressure as this game goes on. Now looking to challenge for a blue buff, but it just got smited away by Croco.
Yeah, so Croco once again going to be denying more camps, and that is going to keep him in the lead. Jiu and Hype still just continuing to push waves towards one another. Lahens moves over with that broken ability called Eclipse that stops you from taking a damage. Oh, that always feels bad. When you press Ruthless Predator but don't actually manage to auto-attack your target, and then you just look silly with the little green thing around your head.
He secured the cannon though, so it's fine.
True, true, definitely good.
But yeah, I feel like we've seen attempts from Gideon to really push the lead. Nothing's come from it. Top lane has a bit of an advantage for Kingen. Sure, that's fine. And the bot lane, it's like both supports have just been roaming to assist the junglers, and Jiwoo and Hype have just been 1v1.
Yeah, and not even really one. Oh, there's the flash over. The flash out from Calix. He just found the angle.
Yep.
And so Closer looks a little bit silly in the end.
Quick response coming out from Calix to dodge away from that ult. Certainly would have gone down if that had hit. And just a trade of flashes as is. Which I think, honestly, Closer's okay with the Trader Flashes in that situation, because I think the Corki Flash is a little bit more valuable when the goal of Bro is often going to be to target him, but still, was looking for the solo kill angle and does not find it.
Not quite. Still, having to go for a bit of a reset could be problematic. We'll see. As Morgan fighting against Kingen once again. Chains do work out here, and you can see the Aatrox having a final time into the Renekton. We know that our Lord, a bit of a Renekton connoisseur, so does understand this matchup very effectively.
He knows all of Kingen's tricks.
Oh, he does. He, in fact, wrote the book on them.
Does he know the most advanced trick, though? The have Nidalee gank trick, yeah.
I think he does. He knows that there isn't very much of an option there outside of call the rest of your mates. And they know that one as well, as Polo getting taken down solo. He'll be killed. Alex gonna grab that one for himself, and now Morgan knows that he's even more in danger, as Gideon hasn't quite found the spear angle. Dominus popped already, as Kingen just looking to clear out this wave. They don't need to kill him to deny Morgan a bunch of stuff, as they will probably still kill him though, if they're given the opportunity. Still flash out from Kingen, flash out from Gideon as well, as Croco shows up. And Morgan feeling okay about this, outside of the fact that the farm situation's not looking great.
This passage of play, I think, started really smart from the... Oh, Croco.
Okay, watch out. All right, Lens, 50% health on him now, as Gideon can actually heal him up. He gets out of the bullet time, has another Eclipse, and there is the sleep onto Gideon. Croco is going to sacrifice himself for it, and Kingen getting the kill is probably bad news, but he gets 2 for his trouble. There is the knock-up, as Kingen will just get shot in the back of the head by Hype. And down goes the Crocodile, and Bro, in the end, trade up pretty massively.
What started is actually a pretty heads-up and good play from Nongshim with this pick. So they're pressuring the top lane, and they know that means Bro are going to move over to respond. So they get this great pick on Apollo. This is really smart stuff. And then they stay around. You know, they lose flashes on Gideon and on Kingen trying that dive for no reason, and then they hang around way too long, and you have limited time to make a play. If you hang around long enough, more members will show up. In fact, Polu's back after dying. That's how long they've been here.
Yeah.
And they just give over a ton of free kills that Bro are happy to take.
And Kingen as well might have been able to get... Okay, never mind. Got a bit of a battle here in this mid lane, as both of our mid laners are just taking away their own health bars. And otherwise, not too much is going to occur. But I do feel like if Kingen had have just stood near his turret a little bit more, the heroic charge would have left Poppy there. She was like, she could only tank 3 turret shots.
Yeah, I think he was like, I don't want to get stunned. I'll get stunned if I stay here, but he got stunned anyway just outside the turret.
Yeah.
Ended up worse in that situation.
I don't mind the decision. It's just interesting that in hindsight, he might have just naturally killed Polo just for existing.
Hindsight is really broken.
It is.
It needs a bit of a nerf.
It does. Echo should really be a lot stronger than he is.
Yeah.
The
you know, low accurate Echo is pretty unbalanced.
As Chronicler would know if he had have watched Arcane Season 2.
Yeah. I mean, at least we know that we mentioned it to him, we bullied him for it, and he definitely went home on that day and watched it, right?
No.
Right? What?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
In fact, it's got to the point now where there's no hope of him watching it because he's just too stubborn.
He is very stubborn.
It's a little bit of a rock.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's okay. We'll be able to find another analyst. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. I just I guess some people aren't into League of Legends as much as others.
Yeah. Some people just aren't dedicated. Like we are. I watched it day 1. Oh,
same.
Immediately. I didn't understand it day 1, and still don't understand it whatever day this is. So much. Like, I get the gist. So does Closer. The gist is he's dead.
I just love seeing this. It's like you have Lahens layering all the CC perfectly, and then Jiwoo's just like long-range orbital cannon coming in.
He's like, cheers for the assist, guys!
Yeah, but it just really is the icing on the cake. That just means 100% Closer had no chance of evading that. And it's kind of frustrating because Polo was there, and I feel like sometimes that happens when you have a teammate nearby. You're like, I'm safe. It'll take time for them to kill me. He'll be able to come in and... Nope, it took no time at all.
Nope. All right, Nongshim getting to work on this dragon. We'll get them to another objective point as far as these feats of strength are concerned. Bro, I've already locked that one down for the kills. He always just turning up for the scraps, but knows that there'll be a bunch of souls left on the floor, so does collect them for himself. 37 going to be the count.
Yeah, doing pretty good in terms of souls, and I mean, souls are going to be much lower with Farming Center compared to Fasting Center, because You know, Fasting Center got way more souls to compensate for the fact you don't have items. And obviously we saw Farming Center souls get buffed, but it's still lower than Fasting. But we've seen some low numbers in the LCK.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is setting like a pretty decent pace so far. Closing on that 40 at about 15 minutes. We've seen players like 5 minutes later than this having this amount.
Ooh, that's going to be a Trinity Force proc in that last shot. Otherwise, it looked like a really good trade there from Closer, trying to pressure out Calyx, who doesn't have his teleport, actually very recently used it. And it could mean that Nongshim not going to be able to fight for this Rift Herald, although Gideon trying to get himself in position. There's the ultimate going wide from Polo, but still, they're able to secure it. Very nicely done here for Bro, keeping the pressure up, keeping the gold lead in their favor. About 1,000, a little bit under. As still, definitely anyone's game right now.
Yeah, doing a good job so far. And the thing is, Nongshim were kind of moving over, trying to find a window to contest, and as a result, didn't really get anything from that situation.
Calyx kind of okay with having the turret there to help him out, but Shelly is going to come on through, and she hasn't actually started hitting yet. And started charging. She is hitting. Closer might just be dead as the flash away. It's the concentrating on Shelly being the problem here, you know, as she just does nothing.
They changed Rift Herald to make it very hard to mess up, very hard not to get value from it. Because before, there were so many times where teams would get Rift Herald and just get nothing from it, and they'd be like, well, what was the point?
When did they buff Corki, by the way? Just feels like Corki doesn't do as much nothing as it used to.
I don't think they buffed him that recently.
Yeah, right. I didn't really see it. But that is still going to be feats of strength going over to Bro, but maybe it's going to be a team fight victory here for Nongshim. However, Bros are able to get themselves out of the way. Bowling Ball will be avoided. And Hype just walked up to the outer turret in mid lane and killed it. So that means the Bros get feats of strength.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the things with the MF. Once you hit that Bloodthirster spike, even a Senna who has a lot of sustain just can't do anything, because anytime you trade, she just heals up off the wave and keeps pressuring you. So getting a lot of benefit there for the side of Bro. It will be a tower traded back though by Nongshim to keep the gold close, even if the feats of strength have already been locked in.
Yep. So about 600 going to be the Bro advantage here for the moment. They definitely want that to be a larger number. A teamfight composition, you can see exactly how it works. It's the sleepy bullet time, that sort of vibe, the lilting time. Or the what is it? The bullet lullaby, which is much more cool.
Yeah.
But lilting time is when you mess it up. Bullet lullaby is when you nail it. See whether they're going to be doing one or the other as we get further into this game.
Yep. You see, Morgan has picked up the Sundered Sky, which is such a huge spike on Aatrox. He's down in the matchup about 1,000 gold. Thanks to CS difference on that kill, but it's now at the point where when he autos with his ult active and he heals 800 HP, really changes the dynamic of fights.
It does. Kind of weird that that's the case, but I guess it makes sense. The Solar Flare going to slow down Polu, trying to reposition here as we can see the knock-up as Kingin in the bounce house. He's now going to get sleepy as into the backline they go. The Dawning Shadow trying to keep them alive as Morgan is massive, but he needs to be able to hit things to get that health back. As both top laners are dead, it's a relatively even trade as Closer trying to get in there. Lahen's going to use him as a taxi to get through, and Gideon, he doesn't find the spear. Polu able to get himself out as Closer is just going to kill him. The spear goes wide, and why is every team ever just baited by Poppy all the time?
It keeps happening, you know, that movement speed, that extra resistance is a low health, easy to bait you in. Bo's able to clean up, and Hype didn't have ult, I want to say here. Because imagine if he did. Imagine if Hype had ultimate when this happened, how free it would have been.
Oh my god, the angle is absurd.
Oh, it's so much. It's still a good fight for Bro, but we just never get it. We just never, it's just so rare to actually see it happen.
And Gideon also.
And then we get this.
Doesn't get it.
This bullet.
Oh no.
Yeah, Gideon does end up having a little bit of a goof there and going down. It is an advantage for Bro. It was a huge lilting lullaby from Croco. I'm just sad because that is every like silver player's dream. You know? You lock in that sort of composition, you're like, we can do the combo. And they'll wait all game and they'll eventually get it and everything is right in the world. I didn't get that satisfaction.
Yeah, we didn't.
You know what they need? They need like an Amumu as well.
Exactly. I mean, everyone knows the Amumu tech.
Yeah.
As Kingin is very well aware that he's not dead.
Maybe
so.
stick a Malphite in too. Yasuo
Oh, yeah.
mid, you know? Then we're cooking with gas.
That's all you need. The Curse of the Sad Bullet Time was always a classic.
Yeah.
That one's the best one. But
Oh, they are just starting
getting
this.
sleepy along top of it. Yeah, so Nongshim will start this up. Morgan taking a lot of damage here towards the bottom side. Teleport at the ready for Calyx and Morgan, but Morgan needs to recharge that health bar before he gets back. And then the teleport is going to come on through from Calyx. That'll get him towards his top lane. Polo and Croco in the area. Jiu just trying to push them away. And it looks like a turn is being considered here from Nongshim. Great knock up there from Closer as Kingan's health bar getting lower. Out goes the center now, but she has the Dawning Shadow, and the Poppy does go down this time. They are just going to burst through the Otacon. There is the secure by Gideon. Lahens doesn't find the Zenith Blade, but neither is there the knock-up from Closer, and over the wall they go. The Lord will be smote down where he stands. There is the bullet time, but Lahens is there to stop it. And Hype, he gets a tiny bit of dopamine, and then it's just torn away from him. Closer now, he will also get engaged on by Lahens with 100 health, but he has Eclipse, and so of course he's never gonna die, and this time, Nongshim destroy the team fight.
Great setup there from Nongshim. So funny that Jiwoo gets knocked away and then uses the global ult to answer in return. And they're just struggling to find access to this fight. We'll see it come in here, Dawning Shadow just to clean up this Poppy. That's Karma from knocking him out. And then here, they can't approach. Croco's struggling to get in. Morgan ends up ulting, but doesn't actually get an auto up in this situation. He would have healed so much, but doesn't end up catching one. And then here, unfortunately, Jiwoo just cleanses, and Lahens says, no fun for you.
Nope. And he has 300 health, but he pressed W. Wasn't that cool when he pressed W?
So powerful.
And then he doesn't lose health anymore.
He's so brave for that, actually.
He is so brave, man. It's kind of crazy.
And now we have a situation where Calyx, very strong on this Corki, with a QSS in pocket. Jiwoo, 60 souls. That's really where you start to get a lot of mileage out of that range.
Yeah.
He's approaching the rapid fire cannon as well. There's so much poke on Nongshim.
And their composition will get more and more dangerous. As you can see here, my God, Croco just gets obliterated. There's nothing he can do. Now Polo trying to get himself out of the way. And in the meantime, Nongshim have more health and shields because Dawning Shadow is going to rain down on top. And Nongshim are just not going to stop. They're going to take this inner turret at the same time. Hype has no right walking up here to try and deny this. And yeah, Morgan manages to get an outer turret on the top side, but Nongshim are just feeling fantastic. All of a sudden as well. It kind of feels like Nongshim turned on a dime after that Otacon teamfight victory, and now it's looking doomed for the bros.
Yeah, it's looking pretty rough, but I think what makes it worse is the fact that they're starting to be able to itemize defensively against the engages with like a Seek's Arm Guard and Gideon, the QSS on Calyx. They make it a lot more difficult, and Bro try to approach, and then just one bit of CC hits, everything follows.
Croco, nothing he can do about that one, and he just wanted to try and kill some of these minions to take some pressure off. And it didn't really work. Still, Morgan gets the top outer turret. There is a consolation prize for them. It does mean that the gold lead is still going to be under 2,000. It just feels like Nongshim are in such a good position in this game.
Yep.
1-0-6 for Gio as well. That's a whole lot of value from these Dawning Shadows he's thrown out on every single fight. As Closer comes out of the brush, Kingan is going to greet him with a stun, but too much more going to happen there. As we've got the side lanes set up, Lahens looking to try and answer here as Croco is doing the same thing but on the bottom side.
And the thing is, Bro is struggling to find angles to get in. You know, despite the fact they have this super strong Lilia with a big lead over the Nidalee, not able to get onto target, not able to connect. They are looking to connect now on a Kingan.
Yeah, Kingan just wants to hold this wave away from the turret so he doesn't get dove, and he may not get dove, he may just get killed instead, but Dawning Shadow is looking to try and save his life. Polu can't really tank this forever, but is able to tank it for long enough, and Croco blocks down the kill. The answering turret is going to go down, though, towards the top side of the map, and Nongshim, I think, monetarily do come out on top, but still good for the bros to be able to take some pressure off the map.
Yep. On its Mountain Soul as well.
Oh, God.
If they get that, it's just so completely over for Bro. Yeah, here, Kingan does everything he can. Even the Dawning Shadow comes in to stall things out, but the ult from Polu will knock him up, and the follow-up is there. trade back to that tower.
Polo is playing really well. I feel like this is like, it is actually just supportal combat between these two teams.
Yeah.
Both of the supports really leading the charge.
I mean, Lehens is like 5-1 or 6-1 on Leona so far, and he is showing it in this game.
His Leona has always been pretty good.
And Jiwoo now with the rapid fire cannon, he's a whole item up currently on Hype, who did go for the boot upgrade.
Calyx has been missed by everything thus far. Flashes over, breaks the chains. Watch out, Eve. Croco will hit a button as he finally lands a Q. And that was all he needed to get the kill onto the Corki. In the meantime, they may lose Baron.
Yeah, this isn't a good trade for Bro.
That's if this Baron does go down, as they're looking to go for the turn. In goes Lehens. Solar Flare not really going to find it, as Nongshim staying on this Baron for now. The Lilia getting closer and closer. This is scary. Closer looking for that angle, down to 3K. Croco getting in there. The bullet time not really doing too much of anything. And that is somehow the Renekton taking this Baron. That was more of a risk than you needed to take, Nongshim. And Lehens, he's on walkabout, as we say in Australia. We'll see what he can find. He finds a steadfast presence represented by a Poppy, and will be eliminated.
That's the thing, the Senna not doing that much damage to the Baron. The Corki is the one who was the most DPS, and he was dead. So Bro had time to approach, but I just feel like their approach was a little bit off. You know, the bullet time was kind of underwhelming.
It was an odd scenario.
Yeah.
This was also a bit of a cavalcade of errors, as Calyx is able to dodge everything until he's just instantly dead.
Yeah, a lot missed. Took a lot of time to take him down, and the pings are immediately coming out onto the Baron.
Damn, 1,000 gold though over the Lilia.
But we see in this one, so it's good disengage from Polo. That was played really well. Hype ults very early and just really doesn't get much value from it at all. Like a little bit of tickle onto Jiwoo, and then Croco is like kind of not even looking towards the pick, goes for the flash in, and actually
smites early, I think.
And then the fact Renekton got it, I don't think Nidalee even smited.
Nope.
So just, it was...
Maybe it was a tick of Dominus, imagine that.
I mean, it did get buffed.
Yeah, true. And it's not even as powerful as it will be in the late
I've
game.
only brought up the Dominus buff about
150 times?
173.
Oh, sorry,
I
missed a couple of days, I think.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
A little bit unfortunate, because I think if Croco had stolen that Baron, Bro would be feeling really good about their position in this game.
Oh, yeah. As it turns out, having a Baron is better than not having a Baron.
That's so true.
It's so wacky that that's the case.
It's so wise of you to say.
Thanks. I'm really good at, like, I put 2 and 2 and 3 together quite often.
Yeah.
7. There is the spear flying on through as Jiu able to soften them up. This center is getting more and more dangerous. Look at this. Can still just stand at range. Has the rapid fire cannon now completed, as well as a cheeky pickaxe at the same time. Almost 4 items for this farming center.
And you know, if a bowling ball doesn't hit, it's pretty awkward to find an angle in. And the thing is, Lehens has Mikhail's, so if you hit it on one person, it's not enough. You need to get multiple, so you can only Mikhail's one.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, your other engage is that you either have a TP flank, sure, or you have to, like, have Polu run at them, which doesn't really work if you're heading straight towards them. You need, like, a flank angle so you can slam them into the wall. Dragon will be picked up by Nongshim, third of the game. To get that Mountain Soul, I think Bro's odds drop massively.
It's looking very rough, because that is, like you were saying, Soul Point now completed. Calyx has been doing a bunch of stuff just by himself, blocking stuff down, will be able to grab the team a blue buff as well. And then look for that reset angle. He's got QS. Like, it's going to be really difficult to engage onto Nongshim here. 80 stacks for Jiu. And I do think this is actually sort of the fastest stacking we've seen from the center so far. 30 minutes though, oh, maybe it's about the same.
It's slowed off a little bit. I feel like his pace was good early, but it's kind of slowed down now. But
I think Gumo was doing relatively well on his that he played, but Viper a little bit slower, perhaps.
I mean, it's important. The range bonus is huge. Again, you're still doing a ton of damage regardless, because you have items, and he has a lot of items. But the range, I think, is such a massive boon that you can get here. And having AD being close to IE as well, he is starting to do so much. And, you know, on anyone on the side of Bro, just like an auto Q, and they will be chunked out.
Yeah. All right, Kingen will be able to grab a crab here for the team. Still trying to figure out exactly what they're going to go for next. 2 minutes until the Baron is up one more time.
Hype?
Oh,
Max
yeah.
rank
Oh, it's
bullet
Dominus
time?
in time.
Oh, well, I was saying hype.
Oh, sorry.
It is hype that King.
I was hyped that Kingen
Yeah,
was
no,
level
I get
16
you.
from Dominus. Sorry, I'm
a lot of level
bit
16
Dominus
coming
build.
through.
Yeah, my bad.
But imagine now if they managed to sleep a group of targets and then bullet time.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be neat?
wouldn't it be neat as well if the Lilting Lullaby was also max level?
That would be cool.
That might be coming in relatively soon. Somehow, Gideon and Croco are on the same level, even though there is a 2.2k gold lead. And it feels like Croco has been doing a whole bunch more this game.
Well, there is stuff like Atakan and Baron.
Yeah, the Atakan situation is the problematic one, I think.
Yeah, a lot of XP from those. But generally levels fairly even overall, which is good, because sometimes when you're down a bit in gold, you're down a lot on XP. If they have like Atakan and Baron, it's like, okay, well, that feels a lot worse, but been okay so far. But they are kind of just trapped in their base. Yeah, I haven't really found those engages we've been looking for yet.
It's the suffocation strategy here employed by Nongshim. Oh, gee, 4 items now done. Oh, Lord. This whole Infinity Edge situation here is going to be a rough one here for the bros. It's kind of nuts, though, because as we say it, we're talking about the fact that Nongshim have these big leads. 3,000 gold, 31 minutes. That kind of means nothing. And there is, like, the IE done for Hype. He's got 3 items, Lord Doms being one of them. That's a big deal. Doesn't look like a big deal here because Jiu can shoot him and he can't shoot Jiu. As that's a teleport in from Morgan. The Lord has decreed that we be fighting now. And I don't know whether it's really a good idea, Morgan, to be perfectly honest. Maybe it's something we should probably just not do, as a spear is going to come on through here and Kingan's like, okay, I guess I'll win.
Yes. Split push for Nectar in the classic.
Yes. Late game, man. You buffed the Dominus. Now look at him in this side lane. What a monster.
It's kind of showing the desperation bro feeling right now. They're like, we need a TP flank, we need to go. But they TP flank with an Aatrox who just loses most of his health and walks away.
Didn't die though, GigaChat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nongshim, a minute 30 until that dragon. I think you just keep the game in this state and you can just do that. They are looking towards the Baron though. They're trying to duo it, which is... They feel very confident with their level of vision, which as we can see is very clear. But Nongshim seem to be getting a sniff of something. They haven't seen the Yone.
Oh my god, Jiu's just kiting them. This whole time, they cannot get on top of him. The flash forward as Jiu's gonna get taken down. It takes everything from the bros, but they get rid of the center. Now Kingen could be in trouble. He's getting sleepy, but this Dominus damage, ladies and gentlemen. And the Baron will be secured. Look at that, we pop into the pit, it's gone. Even the observers are like, wait, where did it go?
Croco held his sleep. He was like, I don't need this. We can kill him. No, you can't. Not that quick.
Definitely gone. As lands immortal once again, but there's not very much follow-up as the phosphorus bomb comes down. Nongshim, this might be a little bit of an overreach as they do manage to take down the Aatrox. Gideon goes golden and Calyx is doing so much DPS. Down goes Closer. That's going to be the ace. Just one lone kitty cat left alive and one lone Baron as well. So a little bit of an odd choice there for Nongshim, but with 17 seconds left on this Drake, that's going to be Mountain Soul as well.
Should be. There's more reinforcements coming in quicker for Nongshim. We do have Croco coming up soon, but it'll be a 1v3. But here, misses the ult. Jiu kiting well. Hype says, fine, I'll do it myself. And just flashes in and ults to finish him off. But here, Croco could have slept Kingen at any time. Like now.
Yeah.
Not now. No, he's dead now. But any time before that, prior to that, he could have just slept him and it secured the kill, but instead held on to it and died, unfortunately. And here, this was super scrappy, but if you still have your jungler alive, this is completely different how this plays out. Obviously, jungler's great at healing up with camps and stuff, and we see how much value Calyx is able to get off here.
4v3 this whole time.
The Gatling gun is just doing so much.
Yeah. Oh! Yeah, Calyx really wanted the heal, but also he did just kind of kill everyone. As, yeah, Dagon is a little bit stressed. I don't know where he's going.
He's leaving Seoul because bro are losing?
Yeah, perhaps.
Come on, Dagon. Keep it together.
Well, maybe you can't actually pay your bro tax when you're in a cab.
Has Dagon paid his bro tax today? That's the question.
I'm not entirely sure, but based on the game state, I would say it's looking gloomy on that front. As Nongshim pushing up with one of their Barons, which they still have. They are going to break open the base, and it is so much more difficult with Gio alive. Solar Flare not really going to get too much value, though, as the spears are now coming in. Morgan moving back down. He needed to try and defend Kingin, who'd already taken down an inhibitor turret on the bottom side of the map. And Nongshim just really limiting the options here of the bros. As these rockets, man, it's looking ridiculous. The sleep is going to come in, the bullet time not quite working, and in fact, the ulti from Closer pulls Gideon out of it. That's not what you want to see. Morgan gets into the backline, but it's Kingin. It's Kingin, ladies and gentlemen, the world champ. Difference here as he flashes forward. It's a triple. Is that a quadra? No, it's a snipe away from Gideon. And Nongshim keeping the conversation alive about that legend group. The Noodles looking absolutely fantastic as they take this game. We do have to remember, game one existed, but they really did bounce back very well as they take down the Nexus here. And Gio looking like he might be a step up over Vital.
Gio was in great form. You know, this is a level of play we've been hoping to see. I feel like we've been missing this for such a long time. And he's come in, subbed it in game 2, and when I am winning this series, I am trying to ensure that we are going forwards into the Legend group. A must-win match, it feels like, for Nongshim. They're able to clutch out, and sadly for Bro, this means you will not be seeing them at MSI. It'll be a longer time before we see Bro's first international win.
Yeah. And I think most of us expected them to go to MSI as well.
I think a lot of people expect them to win MSI.
Yeah.
But maybe they're holding up for Will.
It's going to be so much harder for them to win MSI now that they're not going.
Yes. But they can still make Worlds. I hope all the Bro fans know Bro can still make Worlds.
Yep. As the guy still... Oh my god. Clip that one as well. I got the last one, managed to retweet that one out. But if you've got the really surprised face guy once again as Gio, huge cheer from the crowd here as well. As a bit of a welcome back, and man, this guy's shoulders must be getting a little bit sore. As you can see, he's looking a bit worse for wear. I think the POM was an easier vote, right?
Yeah, I think last series you saw from Nongshim, it was kind of rough because I think Lahens had one of his worst performances in a while, but this series, one of his best of the year.
Oh yeah, he locked
so on
in.
form. Yeah, it felt like every single engage combo, it was connecting. Even the Poppy wasn't enough to keep him at bay. His Rakan was phenomenal.
And even like on the WA TV, we saw that like if they just trusted in Lahens, there's probably angles there in that play as well in game number 1.
You know what? That was the player for an MSI winner.
That is.
And they can still go to MSI.
Certainly can. Well and truly in the running here as they move ahead by a point. Right, and this is really, really important. KT going to be playing up next.
In fact, that does mean that, again, Legend Group isn't locked in, but with Bro losing this one, I think BFX might still be able to make it. But not against Nongshim. So Nongshim should be locked into road to MSI. BFX are on 5 wins, so mathematically they still, I believe, could make it. But
yeah, DRX not in with a shot, but they have been out, I think, since yesterday as well.
Yeah. So, but things are getting close to being locked in, and Nongshim knowing they'll be able to go to those qualifiers and upping their chances, because I think they really started to slip away, and we started to get concerned. I think this win making a big difference to the odds of making it into that Legend group, which, you know, all the teams are aiming for.
And the thing that's really rough is actually what it means for DK fans. Because if KT are able to take down B&K Furex in our upcoming matchup, especially if it's a 2-0, it'll be Nongshim and KT both tied on, what is it, +2? And DK, with an extra loss, actually, will be trailing behind. And it could mean that they are out of the Legend group. Like, that's the crazy part.
Yeah.
This race, with that last position, it's not a top 6. I imagine a lot of these teams pretty keen for it to be a top 6.
And you know, Calyx did not have a super clean series.
Outside of some moments in game 2.
But his Corki,
oh yeah,
his Corki was pretty fantastic. So good to see him come back on that one.
Wasn't this disappointing? I know Gideon immediately went into Zhonya's anyway, so it didn't matter too much. But pulling him out of the bullet time.
I'm so, you know, every time I see this combo, I hype it up. I'm like, wouldn't it be cool? and we
Yeah.
don't get it. That one bot lane, was so sad.
The whole team groaning at the fact that Gideon gets the kill. And look at Gideon's face. He's like, I'm just going to ignore it. It's like nothing happened.
Guys, I'm just actually trying to win the game, you know? This is important. And the team are like, no, the penta!
Yeah. Look at Calix, man. He cared so much about this series. It's absolutely fantastic to see from the new player on Nongshim's side. Great to see them get back on the horses. Unfortunately, for the Bro fans, just not enough Bro tax. I know the influx at the beginning is always there. Just got to make sure that we keep it up, and it'll be okay. I know it's not about you guys in Twitch chat. It's more about Digon getting into a cab instead of focusing on paying his Bro tax.
Yeah, what did he mean by this?
I don't know. And why did he like give it all away to everyone as well? I feel like he's being a bad influence. Okay, well, it was apparently he went to gym to be a Giga Chad for the bros, is what G-Sun said. As Calix going to pick up the POM, I think Lehen's a little bit robbed for this one, but Calix still having a great game on the Akali and was a real difference maker on the Corki as well.
Yeah, I think we don't talk about the Azir game, but I think game 2 and 3 really was solid. But yeah, I mean, I think there was some decent mentions. I think Jiwoo came in and was there for both their wins, had a great performance. I think Lehen's played really well.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people could be sort of praised for this one. And I think that's what Nongshim needed. They didn't need one member to come in and save them. They needed everyone to step up a bit, and that's what they got today.
They absolutely did. It's now time for us, though, to throw it over to G-Sun for the interview.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Ji-sun for the POM interview translation, joined by colleagues on the side of Nongshim Red Force. Congratulations. This victory means a lot to Nongshim. You have secured a spot on the road to MSI, and you have also taken a lead in the mid-tier battle. How do you feel? Indeed, this match was not just about the road to MSI qualification, but also about the whether we're going to land on the Legend side or the Rise side. I'm very glad that we got a precious win today. After a tough loss in Game 1, Jiwoo subbed in. What kind of direction did the team set going into the next game? With Vital on the lineup, we still had to work on some of the teamwork and synergy, so we wanted to go back to the Jiwoo on the bot lane, and Jiwoo also reassured that let's play out with our confidence as we normally do. Well, in Game 2, Akali was able to solo kill Victor, which is not an easy thing to happen in this matchup. How did you see this angle? Our comp had to keep making stuff happen, you know. We had to make actions in order to accelerate. And then I noticed Victor was pushing a little bit forward, so I went in for the play. We had a very fresh draft in Game 2, just like you mentioned. Camille top, Akali mid. Could you walk us through that comp? We did mention Ahri during the drafting, but I was very vocal about locking in Akali, you know. And then the rest of our players and coaches had trust in me and let me play that Akali. And in the final Game 3, we had another interesting drafting from Nongshim. You guys banned Ornn and picked Renekton at the last moment. What was the thought process behind that? Opponent already had Yone, and I think Renekton is a very good pick that counters Yone. And then without Ornn, I thought we would be able to have a very comfortable game. And you had a phenomenal performance on Corki, which is not a meta pick right now. What was the reason behind that pick? Well, overall, we thought we had a longer range into the opponent's comp, so we knew that we could play out the game by poking the opponents using or taking advantage of our long range. Game 3 was so intense. How was it for you? Because we had such a good late game value, we knew that as long as we don't get like destroyed early on, we would be able to have a lead for sure. But somehow the game was going back and forth. But in the end, we managed to get the win, so I'm pretty relieved. You're in a tight race with KT and D plus Kia for the middle table of the LCK. Your next opponent is T1, and this is a must-win match for you guys. What is your mindset going into that match? My first match in the LCK was up against T1 as well, and I believe we were so close to winning that one. I think it was all about our, early teamwork issue. So this time around, we will be able to get a win for sure. I really wish so. Lastly, before I go, I would like to say to my fans that I really appreciate all the support throughout, our slumps and our, win streaks. So I'm very grateful. Thank you, everyone. And this will be the end of the colleagues interview, and back to the space. Thank you.